This is a film rescue show. Is what this is. I don't know if this is the intro I'm going to go with, but we'll see how it feels. I am joined by Brandon Bentley.
Howdy.
There's no Devin today because we killed him. He's just not worth keeping around, honestly.
He's in the closet right here.
He came back out to Maryland
just to be killed in front of
just to be
closet.
killed.
That's how that works.
That's honestly the irony that he deserves in his life.
You will never escape Maryland.
And the chances of him actually listening to this one too are pretty low. I know he doesn't listen back over them. I know he doesn't. It's just because he never mentions when I just leave my cuss words in the middle of it, which I do sometimes, and I'm sorry about that, Mom. We have a guest in the studio today, Josh.
Hey, how's it going, gentlemen? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm feeling super duper. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling pretty good. I got a little bit of, loosening up done here before we got started, so I think I'm ready to do some talking.
I picked up some Russian vodka tonight. We're recording this one late on a Saturday as compared to 2 in the afternoon on a Sunday. Not saying I wouldn't be drinking at 2 in the afternoon on a Sunday, just mentioning that it's late on a Saturday, so the chances of us having imbibed more than normal is high. And
There's that.
Apologize to your mother again for that.
I won't apologize for that one. She's not coming to my wedding because I know that she won't come to a non-dry wedding. A wet wedding?
A wet wedding? Is that a wet wedding?
Is that a wet wedding?
It's like rain on your wedding day?
It's a nice day for a wet wedding.
Yeah. Gross. So, I will do anything to get Brandon to break. Honestly,
It doesn't take much. It really
it's
doesn't.
true.
Apparently.
Gentlemen, what movie you want to fix today?
All right, so today I am bringing to you a film that I actually enjoyed. I actually liked it.
So let's not fix it.
Right, I mean, it's perfect as it is. So we're
Good night,
thanks.
everybody.
I appreciate it, everybody.
So at Film Rescue Show on Twitter, make sure you check us out on Patreon. Thanks.
Smash that like button. Anyway, so
Smash that like button.
so I'm bringing you Venom, and I enjoyed the film.
The video. Honestly.
The film on video.
Right.
Honestly.
Right. I mean, I got a bootleg version of it, and it was only like 20 minutes, so I don't know. Did I watch the right thing? I'm not entirely sure.
I feel like what you said pretty much sums up how most people felt about the movie, and that's like, I actually enjoyed it. You can't just say, I enjoyed it. You have to say, I actually enjoyed it. Because that was my reaction as well.
And that was exactly my reaction, because I went in with lowered expectations.
Yep.
And
That Rotten Tomatoes, though.
Yeah.
Oof.
I tried exploring why I went in with lowered expectations, and you already nailed it. It was the Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
I was like, no, this can't be good. This isn't going to be good. Nobody's going to like
It was
this.
like, what, 20-something, I think?
That sounds
Like
right.
29?
Yeah, but the
31?
audience score is like
Yeah.
pretty okay, if I recall.
Yeah, that's why I was like drastically like skewed one.
Right.
It
yes.
skewed the opposite way of like.
Yeah, it's the inverse of the critic score.
Yeah.
Right. On
It's
like
like-
a Hereditary, which is like 92% critic score, audience score is like, it was a little weird. I don't know if I like that one.
Right, exactly. So what I wanted to do with Venom today is I wanted to tell it that I love it and that it was really great, but it could be better. And
Sure.
that's the
Yes.
same approach I take to parenting my son and my daughter, but she's awesome. But so is he. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm getting off on a
They're
tangent.
totally listening to
Anyway.
this right now.
Yeah,
Right now.
one day when they're older.
Yeah, in like
Dad,
20
what the
years.
hell?
Honestly, if I found out that there was like old cassette tapes of my dad on like whatever the podcasts were of like the 80s, I wouldn't even take the time.
Right.
We call them radio talk shows.
Right.
Yeah,
WJFK.
trying to explain what a podcast is to him was like he couldn't understand that there was not more to it. I was like, it's like radio that you can just start and stop anytime.
Yeah.
And he was like, so how do I watch? And I was like, you don't, because
Right.
we don't film it. We just
Right. There's
record
no
the
video.
audio.
Yeah.
And I showed him the thing on the Apple iTunes Apple Podcast or whatever
Yeah.
it's called. And he was like, that's a cool picture. How do I watch? And I was like, you don't, Dad.
You still don't watch.
It's
don't
still a
watch.
radio. It's
Right.
basically a radio.
Silly dinosaurs. You know what you have to do now, though? Flash animation.
Oh my God, I cannot. I would never.
For an hour and a half, 2-hour long podcast.
I couldn't even imagine sending someone to hell that is an animator and telling them animate this podcast.
Exactly. Oh boy, that would be tough.
It's like, where do I just give you the finger?
Right. Oh my God.
Here or somewhere down the road.
Anybody that worked on The Good Dinosaur, that's where you're going when you die. To animate Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah, I happen to like.
I shouldn't have said that. That was bad. That was mean. So we are doing Venom by Ruben Fleischer, directed, also produced by the man himself, Avi Arad.
Ah, yes.
Because that man can't keep his fingers out of spiders for some reason.
That's nasty.
That's nasty.
With all the Family Guy voices tonight.
Yeah, and also starring Tom Hardy, which, so as the podcast goes, I like to start off with the good things, because I believe even something like The Room getting to screen is amazing.
Yes.
Like, making movies is hard.
Yep.
I make 6-minute long movies. Both of you guys were actually involved with the last one.
Yep.
Right.
It's hard. It's
It was
super,
a lot of work.
It's a lot of
Well,
work.
especially when you have a time limit.
Oh yeah. When you have 72 hours to go from nothing to completed 6-minute film.
And I was
that
a
makes-
psychopath who decided, hey, I'm going to do 3 short films, like weekend after
Back
weekend
to
after
back to
weekend.
back.
And 2 of them were like, yours was 72 hours. Then like a weekend or 2 later, I'm doing 48 hours.
Right.
Because I'm a cinemasochist. So
I was like, it was like the end of a war movie where somebody goes off on like a suicide mission, and the guys that are staying back are just like, oh my God, he's a national. That was like me leaving you at the end of the 72 Fest, because I knew you were going into like an even worse one. I was
because
like,
I think I was filming for the 48 Hour Fest when you all were watching
yeah.
the 72-hour one.
Yep.
It's like, oh, hey, you gonna
Yep.
come out? I was like, no, I'm gonna be filming this movie. You gotta help me.
Which,
So-
by the way, plug for ourselves, I guess.
Sure.
I'm finishing up the long cut of that. That'll be available on Montrester Media.
Yay.
It'll probably be like 15-ish minutes.
Nice.
Solid.
Man, so anybody that's taken the time to watch the original one, it's 6.5 minutes
Yes.
with credits, and man, you got to cut a lot to get to that. And we filmed a lot over that. We filmed over one day. Does that sound right? We started filming in the morning. And we
Yeah,
filmed till like
Yeah, I
late,
think
late
the
that
only
night.
thing you had by the time I got there was the promo video.
Oh yeah, the
Right.
commercial, the
Right.
commercial.
You had done the commercial ahead of
My,
time.
my only question was why was she wearing a black shirt over a black screen?
Why did
Steve
Jobs wear a black
You know, I actually
turtleneck?
thought that might have been the reason why. It's like they're doing the Steve Jobs thing. I
Yeah,
think
we're doing the
that's what it
Steve
was.
Jobs thing.
Yeah, it's
It was
like, well,
homage.
I was like, well, make
It
the
was on
screen
purpose.
just like a little gray.
Yeah, I mean, again, if I
I'm
had
just being a dick. That's all it is.
infinite time to work on something, and that's why,
Exactly.
like, that was filmed in October, and we're
Yeah.
coming up into April, and I'm still working on the long form version because I want it to be good.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm taking my time on it, but it
Like,
lets it breathe a little bit.
I need to do my editor's cut or cinematographer's cut, I should say. That's not really a thing. Cinematographer's cut isn't really a thing.
Cinematographer's
But second editor's
God
cut.
damn it! They made me drop these frames that I spent so much time making look good.
Hey.
I'm putting them back in.
Hey, when
if
you're
you-
done, if I can do a boom mic,
The two boom-
Hey, if you
that'd be
want to
great.
see me suddenly have a coronary, have you ever seen Animal House? By the way,
The
well, remember the scene where he fires a blanket to the air and the horse goes. "Arr!" That was me watching at the wrap party what they had already sent, because I framed this in 2.35 widescreen. We shot in 16:9, but framed in 235 for a shot and a half. The matting disappears. You see a boom mic. The mat comes back into the middle of the next shot, and I'm just sitting there like, 1 second. I'm like, well, I think that just shaved off about 5 years of my life.
did you guys mean to break the fourth wall like that?
There it is. Fix it and oh wait, post is over.
Guys, how did we get 10 minutes in and we're already down a rabbit hole?
Yeah.
How did we do that?
I
my
don't know.
fault.
We're talking about Venom.
I don't think it's your fault. It's my fault.
I was okay.
Saturday
I'm
night.
getting really good at this about going back to the original point that I start off.
Okay.
What did we like about Venom?
A lot of things actually. I like the casting. Tom Hardy, I think, was absolutely spectacular.
Oh my god.
As Venom, both as Venom and Eddie Brock.
Yeah.
Jinx,
That.
owe me a Coke.
Yeah, right.
Topher Grace who?
Oh my god.
Though to be fair, Topher Grace said he didn't like Tom Hardy's portrayal.
Oh,
So-
Right.
yeah.
In all
Yeah.
fairness, that is true, and
Yeah.
I don't think anybody likes Topher Grace.
That's in that role, yes. As an
in that
actor.
role.
Oh no, as an actor, sure. As
Okay.
A person,
Yeah, I just
no.
wanted to be I wanted to be fair here.
Right.
Yeah.
I think everyone in that '70s show hates him, but you know.
I mean, that was he was kind of the heel to that show. By
He
by,
was.
by season 2, by season 1 and 2, he was kind of like the protagonist. But by season
Right,
3,
right.
you're like, oh, get out of here. You...
But we were talking about Eddie Brock.
Correct.
Yes.
And Eddie Brock, excuse me, we were talking about Tom Hardy.
Yes.
As Eddie Brock. That I think went spectacularly.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I don't think they could have done better with that.
See, this is what I realized watching this. Tom Hardy, you can put him in a film, doesn't matter how good or bad it is, he's going to throw everything into it.
Yeah.
And it dawned on me, he is the reverse of Bruce Willis. Where you put Bruce Willis into a good movie, and he's just going to be like, all right, so I just have to say these things and I'll get my paycheck, right?
Right.
Tom Hardy is the opposite. It's like, oh, we're doing this movie about a symbiote that's going to take over my body, and it's kind of like Spider-Man, but he's nowhere to be found. Cool, all right. And throw myself into it.
I'm going to try really hard at this one, guys. I promise.
Exactly.
Right.
I feel like there was probably people on set that were just like, Tom, dude, like, we're already paid. This is a Sony production. We have money in the bank, dude. You don't have to go this hard.
Right. Well, he did, and he did great.
Oh my God.
So, so that was one point I wanted to make. Another one, I think the banter between he and himself, essentially, between Eddie Brock and and Venom,
Yeah.
went really well. It made sense. It hit hard, and the sound of Venom's voice is what I would have heard reading the comics.
Yeah.
And I think that hit all the right notes.
Oh,
Yeah. It was like, I hate the term cheesy because I don't think it really nails exactly what you mean. Because like when you say cheesy, you could mean like Bible Man,
Yeah.
but you could also mean like aspects of Indiana Jones.
Right.
Like both of them
Right.
are.
They're very cheesy.
Yeah,
at times,
they could be
but
cheesy.
They sell it.
Pulpy?
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
pulpy. There was just so many aspects of this that was like, I know you guys are having fun, and that's helping me have fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Gosh, in terms of other things that I really enjoyed, I think that the middle part of the movie was my favorite. Where he was kind of figuring out Venom, figuring out his relationship with Venom, and
Right.
Venom's figuring out his relationship with Eddie Brock.
Right.
I think they had a lot of good chemistry, even though it's he with himself.
Right.
Which I guess makes sense that
Sure.
they would have decent chemistry, but he had very diverse characters to portray there, and I think that added a layer of complexity to that relationship that not a lot of actors can hit.
Yeah.
And so I think that he delivered well, and there were a lot of funny parts in the middle.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everything was really comical as he's bantering back with himself, as he's trying to, find food. He
Right.
needs to eat. Venom needs to eat.
Right.
Otherwise, he's going to eat Eddie Brock.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or parts of him on the inside anyway. And he needs those to survive.
Hey,
Yeah.
there's like some love handles you can snack on if you're like.
I mean, that's like my... I
Like,
want a
don't eat the
symbiote.
liver. Eat my fat, you
Right.
bastard.
If I could have a symbiote inside me right now, absolutely. I
Oh,
would
yeah.
immediately lose like 300 pounds.
If that was the deal, if the deal was like, I have some like subcutaneous fat you can knack on for a little while.
Yeah, seriously, nosh on this for a bit.
Right.
Man. It'll last you like 3 days.
Yeah. I feel that. No, I would definitely make that deal. That sounds excellent.
Right, yeah, so that would be great. I think that if I can bring up a specific instance here.
No, you can't.
When
Stop.
I have stopped.
I appreciate that. Now bring up your specific instance.
All right, great. When they when Eddie and Venom are trying to find the love interest, and the reason I say the love interest is because she's very forgettable, but we'll bring that up later.
Yeah. Not her fault.
It's
Just
certainly
no.
not her fault.
Not a lot for her
fault
to
at
do in
all.
the movie.
Correct.
And even the character kind of points that out.
Yes.
It's like, that's bullshit. It's the same thing. Like, even in the movie, they're aware of this.
Right. Right.
Because Michelle Williams deserves better.
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
Even in The Greatest Showman.
When he goes to the restaurant to interrupt their date to try to get some help from her and the doctor,
Yeah.
he hops into the
Lobster
tank.
Oh man.
And he's sitting in there just munching on lobsters. Like I had to just have a moment. I paused the film at that point.
Yeah.
Because I needed to laugh for a little while.
Yeah.
And I have to be really quiet because I got kids sleeping at home. but it was funny, and it just struck me as funny. And this was like on the second, third, fourth time I watched the video.
It's still funny.
It's still funny.
And that was his idea too. Like that wasn't even on set. It's like, hey, can you make a tank that I can actually sit in and not break the damn thing?
Right.
And here, make a marshmallow lobster that I can bite into.
Holy
like it was
crap.
literally like a chocolate covered marshmallow in the shape of a lobster.
That's
That
amazing.
you just bite into.
Right.
It was
and
ridiculous.
It was spectacular. And again, that's just one example of them being funny.
Sure.
It's just, I enjoyed that. I
The
thoroughly
marketing
enjoyed
didn't
it.
know what to do with that.
Really.
Like I think they were afraid to like show more of the comedic aspects, and so like when they had like the semi-serious trailer, then it ends with ends with like the turd in the wind line. Everyone's like, well, that's kind of random.
Yeah.
But then when you finally see the whole movie and you get the tone,
Yeah.
and then he says, "That's like, oh, okay, well, that just fits in with everything
Yeah,
else."
that totally.
Right.
So
I do
it
remember
works.
that now that you mention
Yeah.
it.
But if you think about the Spider-Man trilogy that like precedes this, as far
Yeah.
as Sony works go, because we don't talk about Amazing Spider-Man, the
First one's not bad. First
Man.
one's enjoyable. The second one is Spider-Man 3 2.0.
You know, my only issue with the first one was like I shouldn't be sexually attracted to Peter Parker. He's
Why
too
not?
hot. He's
It's
too
okay.
hot.
It's okay.
You're not wrong.
Tobey Maguire was like the perfect Peter Parker because I was like, oh yeah, you're a nerd.
Yeah, right.
It was
Right.
perfect.
Right.
But their trailers were not the comedy, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of comedy in those movies.
Right.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi is a 50% comedy director.
Oh, yeah.
He's comedy horror.
Mhm.
He's 50% comedy, and that was in all three of those movies, and that was not in the trailers with those either.
Not
Like-
really, especially the third one.
And-
The third
oh,
one, like
man.
the trailers were very dark.
Spider-Man
Yeah.
should absolutely be funny.
Oh,
because He was
absolutely.
funny.
Yeah,
He
You know, I
had
think
some
Tom Holland's
great
doing a good job
lines.
with that now too.
Right.
So
yeah, for like millennial humor.
millennial man.
Yeah, they didn't. I agree.
mean, he's like what, 13?
Something like that.
Okay, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I think he's like definitely not legally able to drink in the United States. I'll put it that way.
He's either 20 or 21 now, but he does successly pull off the high school look.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
So
he got a little baby face.
Yes.
Late middle
So,
school, early
Yeah.
high school.
Again, and that was,
middle school.
that was my issue with Andrew Garfield too. I was like, dude, you're like 6'4". Like, I know you're 30. Please stop.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
too cool.
But
Right.
that's a question I have though, and we can delve more into this later on. But what if, like, what universe, air quotes, would this take place in?
Yeah. I
Like-
mean, it's your rewrite. I don't want to
Yeah.
speak for you.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Do you want to tie this into the MCU? Do you like it being its own Sony thing? Does it
I
work
don't.
without Spider-Man?
I don't, and that was one of the things I wanted to do with it. Is I think that Venom deserves Spider-Man. I think that they are very specifically built and constructed in the comics to be kind of opposites of each other
Sure.
at times. So you've got
Almost symbiotic.
almost symbiotic. Yes, indeed. Spider-Man is the goody two-shoes, the nerd kid that always wants to do the right thing,
Right.
and Venom doesn't really give a shit. He's the, he's the gray area. He's the anti-hero.
Yeah.
He's still a hero at times, most of the time anyway.
Like
But-
Loki, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right, but he's
Yeah.
supposed to be along the lines of like Punisher and Ghost Rider, where he basically doesn't have that goody two-shoes thing going for
Bit
him.
more
and he-
amoral.
a bit more amoral, and
Yeah.
he can definitely kill the hell out of somebody if he feels like it.
Right.
It's like I feel
Because
like
that's
biting
the
off
way
his
it
head.
works. Right,
hungry.
exactly. He's hungry. He's gonna bite off a head.
Got some
That's what
PG-13
happens.
chomps in this. I was surprised.
Right. Well, there were 3, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I think there were 3.
I think
Relatively bloodless, but
yeah,
Right,
of all the
right.
things to change in this, I really just want to see the R-rated cut of this.
see, that's the thing. It's like I
I
don't
know they made it. I know they made it.
Now, was that ever actually confirmed? There was like very conflicting reports.
The director himself talked about how he was shooting for the R rating, and that when it was, because it was one of those things where like any other project, if you announce PG-13
Yeah.
without all the like rigmarole behind it, people freak out. But this was one of the few that was just like, Venom's coming out, it's PG-13. It was just kind of like this like side like, oh yeah, we cut it down, like because they didn't cut it out. Like he still
Right.
bites off people's
Right.
heads.
Yeah.
He's throwing people into the wall. I think they cut out the the parts that like make it R, the actual showing the head chomp, actually seeing the
gushers afterwards.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the splatter into a wall.
There's so many like PG-13 compared to unrated versions where like the difference is like CG blood,
right?
Or it's seldom like CG removal of blood. It's usually CG blood added,
right?
So or they added it, then they just took it back out. So because practical blood nowadays is sadly kind of rare, especially in movies like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's always weird, like when you watch or look up a comparison. Like there's this website I go to all the time, moviecensorship.com.
Right.
And they are like very detailed.
Yeah.
Like so many things like, I didn't even notice that.
There's
like,
3 extra frames where you can see an artery start to spurt and then it cuts away.
You joke. You jest. They've done that.
I believe
like
it.
3 extra frames here is like, are you kidding me?
I believe they went and took the time to count the frames.
Right.
Well, and even
I will be honest though, I'm going to disagree with you. I don't care about the R-rated version.
Really?
I think the PG-13 version was fine. I didn't need to see all the extra blood. I didn't need to see all the maiming. Like, everything worked. I got the point. I got the point that yes, those people died after they got their heads eaten.
Yeah.
I think Tom Hardy's reactions are the key to how R-rated the movie was, because he's reacting to these actions as if we were seeing them.
Good call.
And that informs his character. So seeing a violent head chomping and then cutting to Tom Hardy going like, "Yo, dude, what the hell?" adds to like,
why would we do this?
You're right. I do
I
understand that. It wasn't as horrific for us as it clearly was for him.
Exactly.
So I can appreciate that point.
Yeah, and I think leaving them in, I see, and again, this is an MPAA thing where it's like action sci-fi, they're going to be harsher on you. Like a decapitation or a head chomping, even if it's relatively bloodless, can still give you that R.
Depends on how long you linger, pretty much.
Yeah, that's true,
It's
too.
like the first head bite, it's like blink and you'll miss.
Yeah, they cut away very
like
quickly.
he throws the body like really fast.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They, you blink and you miss it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know that it's implied.
Yeah, it's like the characters have to say it for you to realize that.
Right.
Because both he and Michelle Williams' character, Anne, I think was her name. They both say that. It's like, oh my god, did I just eat a head?
Imagine if you're in the theater and you sneeze like a rude jackass, right? And you close your eyes for that second, you missed it. You didn't know.
You get kicked out of the theater for A Quiet Place.
Right.
Only at the Alamo.
The first time I saw A Quiet Place, somebody this was a big packed out theater too, and it was one of those that like everybody was snacking at the beginning, and then like the snacking just dropped off exponentially as the movie started, and then after the spoiler scene where it kind of shifts into the full blown movie, somebody like starts to dig into their popcorn, and from the back of the theater you go, "Just eat it after the movie, man!" and there was like this like golf clap throughout the theater, people going like, yes,
absolutely.
Just it's fine.
Let's all be quiet.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
This is the one time that I agree with that.
I'm so sad I missed that in theaters.
Oh my god, it was an experience.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I would be okay with a PG-13.
Good, that's what we got.
I mean, that's what we got, so you have to be okay with it.
Yeah, and maybe that's why I don't hate the movie. I don't even hate it.
Right? No, I don't hate it. I liked it.
Same here.
I would venture to say I loved it, and I've had good times watching it again.
Yeah.
So,
Rewatching it for me, I realized how off the pacing of the acts are.
True.
That was the big takeaway from it, because like
are we doing the negatives now? Are we getting into the negatives?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, because that is one of my points.
Yeah, we're in the negative zone.
Act
now.
1 had the Act 2 slump.
Yeah,
like the
it
way
really
that
did.
Okay, exactly what I was going to bring up.
And then Act 2 ends and the movie's over, and you're like,
like
wait a
what?
second, what?
Act 1 was particularly frustrating. I already know Venom. I know Venom's origin. This was not Venom's origin.
Yeah.
And this took too long.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know, what, 30
That's also what happens when you
minutes?
get rid of Spider-Man.
Yeah, true.
Brock gets infected 36 and a half minutes into the film.
Yes.
With the symbiote. And the prior 36 minutes probably could have been condensed into like 15 minutes. Because in film, things happen very rapidly. I found myself checking the time constantly because I wanted to take notes. I wanted to see where we were in the story, on the storyboard at the time.
Yeah.
And things happen very quickly. And I'm like, wow, we're like 5 scenes past what just happened. It's got to be at least 30 minutes from now. You know what I mean? And I look at the clock, it's been 10 minutes. And I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
this is taking too damn long, and it was frustrating. So I'm hard pressed to pinpoint exactly what parts I would cut, because I understand a lot of it was necessary for building the character, building the characters, but I didn't need the love interest.
Sure.
Like, it didn't do anything for me. We could have cut out 7-8 minutes right there.
But
and
then
gotten into the story.
But then you wouldn't have Fem Venom with the weird hentai scene.
In all fairness, I love Fen Venom.
The PG-13 hentai.
That was fantastic. However, she didn't do anything for me. Like, not sexually. Like, oh, I really like her.
See, now you just sound like the people complaining about Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah.
Like, Jade's not doing anything for me. She's not just like...
She's not hot enough.
It's like, it's a fighting game, you jackass.
Right.
Play Dead or Alive.
Yeah, talk about
God.
blood spurting everywhere. But yes,
Is
in
that
all
a period
seriousness, I
joke?
didn't need it.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I wasn't trying to, but so it.
I have a suggestion.
Okay, go ahead.
let me tag team in here. real
Sure,
quick.
go ahead.
So I only have 3 things that I would really, really change about the movie. And one of them is he doesn't need a love interest for the story to work, because this is about his relationship with Venom,
Correct.
not his relationship with Anne.
I 100% agree with that.
I think Anne should be his sister for 2 reasons.
Okay.
Bada bing, 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 bing,
It
bing, bing,
excuses the reason they would
It's
live
set in Kentucky now.
I'm not saying they're in a
He gets it.
relationship.
No offense.
I'm
Kentucky
sorry.
people.
I'm assuming our audience is intelligent and is keeping up with.
Well,
we
if it-
just lost subscribers. In
Okay,
Kentucky.
if you live in Kentucky, then I meant West Virginia, and if
Yeah.
you live in West Virginia, I meant Kentucky.
And if you live in Alabama, you're just not even questioning
Screw
it.
Right, Alabama is already on board.
You
Anyways.
you got party mouth.
They're listening with their sisters right now.
Wow. Okay. Anyways,
I'm done.
the relationship doesn't exist, and the character is now his sister. So that when they live together early in the movie, it makes sense. He's like a little more down on his luck. It's easier to like appreciate where he's at in life.
Sure.
And then whenever he kind of screws her over, him getting kicked out is like him being separated from his family. But the second reason this works is if Venom leaves Eddie Brock and connects to, I guess would be Anne Brock now. I was going to make an Aaron Brockovich joke, but
Yeah.
it would take too long.
Being Eddie Brockovich.
When Venom leaves Eddie, he would be able to connect to his sister because he's already symbiotic with Eddie's DNA, and their DNA is close enough that he could like maybe sustain himself on the sister.
That I
for a
like
while.
because it gets into the more scientific aspects
Yeah,
of how the
there you go.
symbiote would actually work.
Right.
So I agree with that. That's cool.
And then it allows the like. Honestly, you could even have some like 2% incestual joke going on of like Venom being like, well, she's attractive, and then him being like, well, she's my sister, and him going, I don't understand. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I'm doing Cookie Monster voice
right.
because I can't do a Venom voice.
And then they do the whole, I've been inside both of you.
Yeah. Oh my God. Wow. That's terrible, but funny. Anyways, you could play it any way you want, but I think it would make the story work a little better as far as like why they would continue to interact afterwards.
Right.
Because oh my God, she's dating a doctor now. Eddie Brock should be like blocked on her cell phone.
Right.
It does not make sense that they're still super friendly 6 months later, according to
Yeah.
the film.
Right. Well, I mean, I think their point there was that yes, she still did have feelings for him, and yes, she still, cared about him, cared for him,
Yeah.
and that's what they started to bring back up at the end.
That makes her look
Yeah.
like a shitty person.
But it makes her look like a shitty person, and therefore I could have done without it.
And her being his sister means like him coming back is like him trying to reforge
Reconnect with his family.
a familial bond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and that's blood's thicker than water, and maybe it's thicker than symbiotes. I don't know, but it seems like maybe not. I don't know, but I agree with you.
because you can't watch this podcast, Josh did that entire pun without breaking his face.
See, I'm doing that for everyone here.
That is dad level joke ability. I just want to bring that
He's
out.
taking
real
all the
quick.
wind
I
out of my
was-
dad joke sales.
I was waiting for him to stop and make sure I was caught up, and he didn't care. He was just gonna keep going.
I try. I try to entertain.
I
It's
appreciate
fun. I have fun with it.
I just wanted to catch the audience up because like they can't hear your face not breaking.
Right, and it's also probably good that they can't see all of my hand gestures and everything too, because I might
Ooh.
accidentally, like, if I was in like 3D or something like that, people would be dodging, ducking, and everything, duck,
Yeah.
dive, dodge, you know, whatever.
Dodge, duck, tip, dodge.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
What? Wham.
Poor Justin Long. I just want somebody to say that was a real wrench in production.
Oh, God.
That's good.
That would make his reaction so much more realistic.
Oh my God.
Oh, God.
Why would you do that? That's so rude.
So, if we could go back to the pacing for a moment, I
Sure.
think that the fact that the introductory, Act 1 took 36 minutes before we got into Part 2, I think the next thing that was frustrating for me was that Eddie and Venom had very small interactions in the next 15 minutes
Yeah.
before Venom actually manifested and started showing him what could be done
Yeah.
and what he could do. And so it was at 51 minutes that now we're over halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
And we start
Yay,
seeing Venom's
origin
powers.
story.
Yeah.
Right, and so it was an origin story, but I didn't like it. I didn't like the origin.
Well, that's the tricky thing. Like, people always talk about, like, the origin story hiccup, hurdle, what have you. Like, that's like why when Spider-Man Homecoming came out, they're like, you know what? You know how he became Spider-Man? Screw it. Just here. We're there. So, like, I think in this case, though, it was down to, like, oh, God, we need to erase Spider-Man 3 from their memories.
Yeah.
Right? But you are stuck in that bind of trying to do an origin story, but it's very tough to do. Like,
Yeah.
how much do you devote to that first, like, half of the movie?
Right.
So-
And I don't want to spoil too much for you for Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes, thank you.
But they play with the origin story. And when they play with the origin story, they do it really well. Like, you're
Yeah.
already familiar with it. And then they say, okay, here's the origin story. Okay, here it is again. And here it is again. Here it is again. Here's it again. And they hit you with it like 8-10 times.
Yeah.
And they speed it up each time.
Oh, okay.
So that's a lot of fun.
Very self-aware.
Obviously, they
Oh my God.
can't.
Yes.
100,
I
I'm
mean-
the only one in this room who has not seen this damn movie.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Chris
sorry. I
Miller-
don't want to say anymore, but it's good.
Chris
I've
Miller
heard.
and Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Yeah, the ones booted from Solo.
God damn it! Of all the cuts of movies I want to see, the Lord and Miller cut of Solo is all I want to
We'll
say.
probably get the Snyder cut of Justice League first.
Ugh. You're living in a dream world.
Hey, I'm not saying I'm looking for it. I'm just saying.
I was quoting him. Are you aware of that new debacle?
What?
Oh my God! All right, we're over a half hour in. I can do a rabbit hole.
That's okay. I'm going to step out for a minute.
So recently, Zack Snyder was on some kind of panel.
Oh yeah,
And they were
the
talking-
director's cuts thing.
Well, he was talking. They were asking him about how Batman killing people affects his movie,
Yes.
and then he goes on this
I did hear about this.
infantile tangent of like, if you think Batman doesn't kill anybody, you're living in a dream world. Now, I won't go into this too much because I actually have a video essay coming up on this because I have thoughts, and I don't disagree with Zack Snyder. I disagree with his method of delivery.
Did you guys pick that up? He said method of delivery. I'm not sure if it registered on everyone else's.
Sorry,
ears.
that was a little high pitch. Yeah, so
Still working on that album?
working on that video essay.
Yeah, you're doing okay.
You're eating hair.
Stevie's the other guest today.
You got a lot of notes. That's all I keep looking at is like how many notes you have.
Yeah, and I
I'm the
I
old
wrote
man
down a
who's,
lot of
like,
notes.
handwriting notes when I do
We
it.
get drunk and do this show off the cuff.
I was-
In case nobody knew that for
Yeah.
certain.
No.
That's me confirming it for you.
I was totally worried that you guys were gonna sit there and just like make me talk the entire time. And
Oh,
I was
God,
like,
no.
I was like, oh God, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough to talk about, so I'm gonna
No
write down
guest is
everything.
that interesting.
And in,
Unless
in all
Brandon's talking about Mortal Kombat.
Oh god.
Boom!
You ain't
in
wrong.
all fairness, I wrote down pretty much the same notes twice, and I did that on purpose
Mm.
because I did a first run several weeks ago, and
Okay.
I did another run yesterday, and I wanted
wow.
to compare my notes to see if I was picking up on the same things and picking up, having the same feelings, same thoughts still.
Sure. Yeah.
And so everything's in duplicate because I just hit print as fast as I could because I was 5 minutes late for leaving.
And it looks like you did it in Notepad and not Windows.
Correct. I did it in Notepad because it takes up a little less room.
File
and it's
space,
just-
yeah.
a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Yeah, I understand that.
A little easier.
Right.
Um,
So, okay. I'm trying to think of other things I really disliked. My only big issue with this movie, honestly, is the third act. Because even watching it on a, like, very bright TV screen and not a dark theater screen, it is incomprehensible as far as what's happening with
Well,
those
when
two
it's just-
symbiotes fighting.
Yeah,
Yes.
when it's just symbiote splooge everywhere.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to pick up.
Honestly, if the third act of your movie is just a GAC commercial, please stop.
I started paying close attention.
I appreciate you appreciating my GAC reference.
Yeah,
too.
no,
I
that's
ain't gonna
good.
lie, I just
I used
watched
to
Best
have
the
gag.
Worst today, and they were talking about gag. They even showed the commercial too. It was great.
I haven't seen that one.
Smelled like crap, but damn it, did I have gag? I had a popcorn scented one, and I almost couldn't eat popcorn for a year after that.
Yikes!
Horrible.
Oh man, GAC was something from the '90s.
Gag and Floam.
Oh,
Do you remember Floam? No
God,
one remembers
Floam.
Floam.
I remember
It was
Floam.
like an offshoot of Gak, but with like these weird bead things here that would probably like kill a kid if they ate it.
Yeah,
Right, I think-
Floam was like it was like sticky, almost like sand particles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
Oh,
Floam.
yeah.
It didn't
that
stick
that
around
had
for
a
a
weird,
while. There's-
weird smell too.
Yeah, there's probably an issue there, and we just never knew about it. Now I
Oh
gotta
my
look
God.
it up.
God.
Floam was discontinued after 42 children were killed.
How
Yeah, it's made
how
with
crazy is
asbestos.
it going to be if like we make it to our 60s and there's like one of those class action lawsuit commercials and it's going to be like, did you interact with Floam in the 90s? You're going to die tomorrow.
Oh god.
Right.
We just found out that there was a chemical involved in this that caused global warming. What? It was Floam the whole time?
It'll just be like a global countdown timer for an entire generation. To
Oh
just get
my
wiped
God.
out.
Also,
But you know what? That would be great for the future generations because that means less consumption, less use of our
oh yeah.
natural resources, and they won't have to put up with us in old folks' homes.
All their games are electronics now. At a certain point, that just like I think millennials are just gonna like disappear from the earth, and everyone's gonna go,
What happened?
"Wait, where's all the stuff?"
Yeah. Where'd all this stuff
It's
go?
escalated so quickly.
Okay, before we jump back onto the movie, where's all the Gak and Floam now? Because I know they made like mountains of that
Did they
stuff.
find that it's now actually in the stomachs of deep sea creatures?
Is it?
Yeah, because like the little plastic crab that they had in there, like the it's like it's in landfills and
my
it's
God.
in our rivers and streams and in our oceans, and
And it's turning the friggin' frogs gay.
it is beyond. Oh, did you hear about him?
Oh, I don't even.
Okay, he testified under oath that he actually had psychosis, and that's what made him.
Oh,
a,
that's what you're referencing.
Yeah.
Oh, Alex Jones.
I,
yeah,
I
I'm
did
sorry.
not get that reference.
I followed
was
along.
not Captain America here.
I followed along. Yeah, Alex
Yes,
Jones.
Yeah. So,
Turning the friggin' frogs gay.
Yeah, exactly. So
Are you-
anybody that
I use
believes him
YouTube and
apparently-
4chan for my sources.
People that believe him apparently are like
Weirdly
also
enough,
suffering from that psychosis.
weirdly enough, he was not wrong about that.
That's the weird. That's the worst part.
It
Is
was
that
a
he wasn't
pharmac-
wrong about that.
It was a
I
pharmaceutical
hate that. I
company.
hate that so much.
Yeah, it was a pharmaceutical company dumping hormones
Oh my god.
into a certain, I think it was a river or stream source or something like that, and it was affecting the frogs to make them hermaphroditic. They were growing both body parts.
Huh.
So like turning the frogs gay is a
It's a flippant
terrible
way of putting
it's
it.
a terrible way to report the
Right.
news, but he
Yes.
wasn't like it wasn't coming from like something that didn't happen. It's not like, you know, the
It's
clouds
presented
are
as that.
controlling your
It is-
mind.
It is presented as that though, like
Yeah.
the chemtrails and everything from
Yeah.
airplanes that like control your mind and stuff. It was presented like that.
Brandon's
then when
broken right
When
now.
you actually,
because-
yeah, when
I-
you actually look into it, it's like no.
I
it
don't,
was
I, don't,
actually
I don't like this at all.
I don't blame you.
Okay.
So
we
let's
can
talk
move on.
about
We can move on.
let's talk about the other dark Floam, Venom.
Yeah, Dark Floam Venom. I paid close attention to the symbiotes this time through.
Yeah.
This most
Yeah,
recent
yeah, yeah.
time through. And the very first symbiote that they show us the symbiotes. They're all in the little jars.
Yeah.
They're this
Like the whole
dark
set.
color, and they're just like amorphic, amoebic, all over.
Yeah.
Okay.
The CGI holds up,
Yeah.
weirdly enough.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
was actually kind of impressed watching
it,
through
it looked,
again.
it looked relatively seamless.
Yeah.
But what I noticed is they've got first symbiote that takes over the rabbit.
Yeah.
Is yellow.
Nice.
That one's yellow. They very specifically
yeah,
make
yeah,
it
I remember
yellow.
that. Yep.
But we never
Interesting.
see it really like manifest the way that we see Riot and Venom manifest.
Correct. Yeah.
The second symbiote, this is again one of the two that die, is the one that dies after it takes over Dr. Skirth.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Who I fondly call Dora the Explorer because her first name is Dora.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just
Oh my
thought that up. It's stupid.
And we're getting a live action version of that too,
Which is
which
true.
I'm going to refrain shitting on because it looks like Spy Kids, and that makes me very happy.
Right, exactly. So that second one that came out of Skirth, excuse me.
Colin?
Who's on Skirth?
That one was blue.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So then at the very end of the movie, they choose to use black and also almost black
Yeah.
to fight each other. And I was like, you had the colors thing
With
going.
like tiny little bits of red.
There were bits of
Black.
red.
Like little
Riot
veins
had- it
or
was like-
arteries.
It's like charcoal versus midnight, and
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
colorblind, so this doesn't help me at
Yeah,
all.
exactly. It's like the everything bagel topping. You
Oh.
know what I mean? Like, so that's what he had. Like, so
Is that a flax seed or a
right? Exactly. Those are
chia seed? Oh, okay.
That's
poppy
sesame.
seeds. They're not midnight black. They're
Right.
just regular black.
Oh my god. I can't. Okay. We are living in the renaissance of set design right now. You think about like John Wick and movies like that like really go deep into like
Right.
we're gonna explain the world through the backgrounds.
Yeah.
And then you have people that are like going to Lowe's and holding up like 2 offset colors of dark gray, going, "Nah, these are the symbiotes."
Yes.
It's like,
Yes.
what? You're
Nailed
killing me.
it.
You're
Nailed
killing me.
It's like Mr. Burns trying to figure out the difference between ketchup and ketchup.
Yeah.
Ketchup, 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 ketchup. He's talking to the ketchup
Your
again.
impressions are like killer tonight.
Yeah. No. I really like this
They're
guy.
top
Like,
notch.
I like to do voices myself, but they don't actually have like any bearing on any other person or any other personality or fictional character anywhere.
Yeah.
And so like I want to practice. I want you to be my mentor. Would you be my mentor?
I just wing this. I don't know.
I can only do Kermit, and I'm only allowed 1 Muppet reference per podcast, so that was it. Just blew that one.
All right. Well, you're gonna have to do this afterwards.
CNN.
Okay. Let's.
So, I want to finish the colors thing.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
colors, Duke. The colors.
Yeah. Okay. So Venom is dark black,
Yes.
streaked with some white. Riot is the everything bagel,
Yeah.
and it got burnt. You know what I mean? And
Burnt
so like you can
everything
kind of
bagel.
see that there's some other color striation in there. He is a little bit shaded lighter.
Yeah.
And
very slight.
right,
Yeah.
but then
Especially at night, which
Right.
again.
So that's my next point is that they're fighting at night. They're fighting on what happens to be like darkened steel catwalk.
Right.
And I'm like, good God, what is the difference between that person's arm or symbiote arm, that symbiote's arm, the ground?
Is
and
this
everything?
hentai?
Right? Right. And I feel like
No,
an
that
old
was the
man-
earlier scene.
I feel like an old man with failing eyes, and
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I looking at?
Yeah.
It's still easier to make out than anything in Alien vs. Predator Requiem.
Right. Or
Like every review to this day talks only about how
or
you
DC
can't see
Universe movies.
I really wanted to like Requiem too. Oh my god.
Same here.
I really wanted to.
Saying
They,
when
they
you
tried so
talk
hard.
about needing an R over PG-13.
Oh my god. The unrated version's pretty wild.
Well, the unrated version of the first AVB is like, okay, yeah, they threw in some extra specs, but even like the rated Requiem was R. Like they did push.
Oh
that.
yeah.
But yeah, the unrated version of AVP, it's like, oh, that shot of the blood hitting the snow. There's like
Right.
an extra pint,
Right.
something like that. It was like all the
Is
CG
that Cherry
blood.
Pen and Jerry's? Anyways.
Anyways.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so for anyone who's not super aware, the guy that did that R-rated Power Rangers short film
Oh yeah,
in 20
Shankar?
yeah
2015,
2016, something like that. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. He did a Venom short film.
I'm not surprised. He
And
also
it-
did Punisher, so
Yeah.
Dirty Laundry.
Makes
Yep,
sense.
Dirty Laundry, which was a fantastic little short film. He did a Venom short film that was like found footage horror, but it wasn't like shaky cam found footage. It was presented as like a news team, and it
Okay.
was Eddie Brock as a newscaster getting taken over by a symbiote. And it again, I'm colorblind. It was either in black and white or like very, very color scaled down.
Washed out.
But everything was set in like light colored rooms so that the symbiote popped.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. I can see. Yeah. There's a particular scene I wanted to talk about too in
Okay.
Venom where they do that. So when he goes back to where he used to work, he wants to leave a note for
Yeah.
his boss up top.
Oh, yeah.
He comes back down and he's obviously then been ambushed
Yeah.
by about 353 Marines or private security bodyguard, whatever.
Shield agents.
Shielding. Right. It's something, and they all suck. And we'll get to that in a minute too because I hated that.
They were doing the shootout scene in the lobby from Terminator 2.
Right, but
That's all that was.
Here's the thing: if I want to fight a big monster and I want to like kill it, I'm probably not going to fire like smoke grenades at it and then like smoke out the entire fucking place. Excuse me, the entire place, and make it so I can't see anything. That makes no sense.
Yeah,
it's already nighttime, dark out,
Yeah.
and the thing that we're fighting is black, and it's really dark, and it moves like nothing they've ever seen before, for sure. And they fire smoke grenades at it, and it catches the smoke grenades, and there's smoke all over the place, and you can't see them.
Yeah.
And that's just stupid.
Yeah.
They were stupid.
Yeah.
And these are supposed to be like a trained military force or a trained private military force, whatever it is. I thought that was dumb.
Sure.
I hated that part.
Yeah.
But in that same scene, we get something that's really awesome, and that's when they switch to thermals. When they switched to thermal, they did the white on black, black on white. Everything popped.
Yeah.
And that was like the perfect lighting scheme, and even to me, that was a throwback to the comic book.
Yeah.
And I think they did a really great job with that, throwing it back at that point to like a black and white comic book.
Yeah.
Because you get to see Venom jumping around, murdering dudes, which is always awesome. But you get to see it in the black and white.
Right.
Yeah. And that was really cool.
Yeah.
I think they did a great job with that.
That scene stands out to me. The motorcycle chase scene that ends with him biting off a guy's head was fun.
Yeah.
There's a few scenes, even actually when he first gets the symbiote and he's escaping the Life Foundation,
Right.
and they're like out in the woods. It was a very Fox way to do things, because like
That's a good way of putting it.
I don't know if you've
it's in
ever
the
watched-
woods. It must be an X-Men movie.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
Right.
My point exactly. If you've
On
ever,
that dimension, on the X-Men throwback on the X on the headlight.
yeah,
yeah.
I was like the big old X on there. I was like, I see what you did there.
Right. Yeah, so there was fun. There was a lot of fun action scenes throughout. I think they just needed that extra like flair of direction, I guess.
That's the thing.
Because
Yeah.
so okay, for anyone that's not super aware, the way that a lot of these movies are made is you have your A and B units, and your A units are the ones that do like the major photography. So they're working with the actors, they're setting up, taking like multiple takes and like trying to get the tone and everything down. Your B unit doesn't often have the main director there all the time. He's involved. Producers can be involved, and it depends on your director. It'll shift. I think who's the guy that did Predator in the first Die Hard?
Oh, McTiernan.
McTiernan's very involved with his B unit.
Yeah.
He's like overseas. He knows what he wants for action, and it shows in his action movies because he's the master. And then you have
We just won't talk about the Rollerball remake.
nobody talks about that. They don't even talk about that.
We're talking about it right now.
Not officially. Yeah, and so then you'll have, and especially Marvel. Marvel is probably the best example of this, where like you have a director like Taika Waititi who is great at the A unit stuff, getting the character interactions, stuff like that down, and then the rest of it is pre-production, pre-visuals, B unit. Like they already know what the action beats are going to be going into these movies. And this was one of those movies. I think Ruben Fleischer was involved with the John Wick series at some point. I'm pretty sure.
I'd have to take a look at that.
I would as well. I might be talking out of my butthole right now. I don't know. Anyways, he was not super involved with the B unit on this. There was a lot of previs. There was a lot of, they already knew what kind of scenes they wanted to do, which can work. Don't get me wrong. Do not trick yourself into thinking that Iron Man, the director of Iron Man, Jon Favreau, did the action scenes in that movie. Don't convince yourself he did. He did not. That is not what he does. Fantastic director. Action scenes, not what he does.
Fair call.
And those work out pretty fine. So they weren't super involved in these scenes, and so you get like 4 or 5 of them. And so what happens is you get a scene like, oh yeah, he's running away from people and they're in the woods. Right. And so you can see it very obviously go from he jumps the fence of the Life Force Foundation or the Life Foundation.
In all fairness, he didn't jump the fence. He kind of jumped through the fence.
Yeah, that was also...
Which was really cool.
Yeah.
Like when he was running towards us, like he's just going to go right through it, isn't he? Oh yeah, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he did.
Yeah. So,
and a tree.
And then cut totally different woods. not the same place.
Yeah, not the same spacing of trees, not the same.
Meanwhile,
trees.
in Canada,
Right, exactly.
Right. Yeah, it's exactly
outside
what it felt
Vancouver.
probably
like. Right. It had different ground cover, different like there was no actual like low bushes or anything. It didn't look like a natural kind of forest. Like it was very.
Doesn't look like a
kept.
hill near the Golden Gate Bridge.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
how did I miss that giant lab?
Yes, that too.
By the
Now,
Golden Gate Bridge.
I will say in this particular scene that you're talking about, I kind of got like a Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner throwback.
Which is fine. They were going for very cartoony stuff with this.
Yeah.
Even
this was incredibly cartoony because you have what I would say almost as kind of like bad blocking in this particular scene when he hides behind the trees. He's got the guys on the four-wheelers on the side of the tree that he disappears from.
Right.
And nobody sees him disappear.
Yep.
Now, you might say, well, that's kind of dumb. They really messed up there. I say, that's cartoonish as hell.
Yeah.
Yo, yeah.
And I thought it worked. I thought it worked great.
Sure.
Dogs can look up.
Yeah. Apparently these guys can't look up.
Right.
Which maybe there's a couple of branches in the way or whatever. But
Sure.
you have a gigantic symbiote. I mean, he didn't really manifest yet as the symbiote.
Right.
But you have
a human-sized thing.
that goes like, I don't know, apparently 300 miles an hour straight up into the sky.
Right.
Didn't break a single branch.
Right.
Didn't knock anything down.
Well, and that's the way that scene is shot. I was paying attention. He's like, he pops out from behind the tree. We're looking at it from the perspective of one go-kart.
Right.
You can see the other go-kart pop the hill. It's in frame.
He knows.
And then we cut to the other go-kart and he's gone. And it's like, what?
Right. And they got us too.
Yeah.
But that's what happens in cartoons is they get us that way. And I think it worked.
And
I think it worked okay.
Even Tom Hardy mentioned that his inspiration was Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I read
makes
that
perfect
too.
sense.
So I'm not opposed to the cartoonish aspects. I haven't watched that show in a long time. Is that streaming anywhere? Do you know?
I can't remember. I could have sworn Netflix had an incarnation of it. I feel like the Spike TV version tried way too hard, but that's a story for another time.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break and let's get into the fix. We need to fix this movie. We need to fix something.
Well, we've been fixing things. I think we've implied some fixes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So let's.
I need more super glue, damn it.
Okay. So we'll go back to a couple of things that we already said. We didn't need the love interest, and the way that we're going to fix that is make it as a sister.
Yes.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
They also my alternative to that, and you maybe have some more working to do with it, is to actually not throw away the character of Dr. Skirth.
Yeah.
Because I think that she has more to give.
Yes.
In this film, and I think that she was a stronger presence than Annie was.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean, Jenny Slate's pretty amazing.
Right. And so
she is Marcel the Shell.
Yeah, I counter your sister's suggestion, and I say use the Doctor to her full extent.
Sure.
So use her as that female fill-in, so we get the hentai Venom, as you said. And yes.
I'm just so glad that I'm not the only one mentioning hentai on this podcast. So we're gonna take a break. We're gonna jump into the finishing touches of the fix. Then, sorry to. And that's how we jump to break.
Hey, you guys remember when some asshole came on Film Rescue and tried to rescue arguably the best MCU movie? And I went, go fuck yourself, Patrick Williams. Yeah, well, hopefully some asshole knows how to save fucking Civil War, which is a garbage pile of shit. We're live. I keep getting caught off guard by this fucking cut. I think it's because I don't ever expect Seth to take a break from talking. You ever heard of narcissism? In the dictionary, Seth's face will be next to it here soon. I've already called Webster. It's coming. Welcome to Michael's Film Zam. We're going to talk about movies that end with the letters Z-A-M or ZAM. This will be a spoiler-filled episode. We're going to talk about the hit movie Kazam, featuring Shaq. That movie sucks on every fucking level possible. Not only is it just a bad movie, but it proves that Shaquille O'Neal should never act. Ever. Exception of Uncle Drew, who's actually fine in that, but man, this movie's rough. Yeah, it's stupid, it's predictable, it's garbage, it's trash. And it's just terrible. So, watch it. It's fantastic. Shitty movie list, it's like an 8. Real movie list, I think it's like a 2. I think it's bad. I think it's so fucking bad. Whew. Oh, and then, as I predicted it, we're going to talk about the DC masterpiece known as Shazam with Zachary Levi. Oh, that's a great movie. The movie understands its lore. It gets Shazam and everything that it stands for. There is some awkward pacing in it. Spoiler alert, Snape does kill Dumbledore. So, you gotta deal with that at some point. But, the thing that I like most about this movie is the trailers don't give away a fucking thing about what happens in that movie. And that is fantastic. The comedy is so good. And there are still some legitimate, real feelings in these movies, which is one thing that DC's comics have done better than Marvel ever has done. And you're going to feel it in this movie, and the acting is so good. And this is the movie that, in my opinion, like I said before, Shazam is the movie that makes people pay attention to DC. I think the Joker movie is going to just continue with the excellence. Aquaman started it with the monetary stuff, but it was going to be Shazam that was going to be not only a critical success, but a commercial success. And Joker's just going to continue. And we're going to keep going because I think they need to keep their fucking hands off. Fucking executives. Shitty movie of the week goes to the fucking Sinbad Shazam movie. What a piece of shit. Oh my god. It's so fucking bad that people like, oh, it doesn't exist. Even fucking Sinbad's like, that movie doesn't exist. Okay, that movie doesn't exist. It's like, no, Sinbad, you just made a terrible movie and you don't want to admit it to anyone, you son of a bitch. And then the fucking government got involved. Don't listen to their lies. They are trying to hide it from you. Don't listen.
Welcome back to the show. So let's fix Venom real quick. I love to grab those like most inconvenient transitions.
And on that note,
we were talking about dicks 2 seconds ago. You wouldn't have known from context. We were just laughing.
Symbiotic dicks.
specifically mine.
Okay, I want to talk about something really, really quick. Please. This is your podcast.
It is, and I don't really care what you have to say at this point, so I'll just
Perfect.
wait. No,
I'm going to talk to Brandon real fast.
It's fine, I can wait.
Okay. So I just wanted to delve into something real quick because I know we will get shit if we don't. There's 2 origin stories for Venom. One of them is 100% hinged on Spider-Man being available.
Right.
Which is the one they did in this movie and tried to work around it. Dance around it. River dance around it.
Right, they played with it.
Ooh.
And they killed it.
The other one is from the Ultimate Marvel series. And for anyone that doesn't know, Marvel, as a comic book publisher, does a lot of different series for their different characters. So you have your main Spider-Man storyline, you have your Superior Spider-Man, you have Amazing Spider-Man. So there's lots of different artists and writers doing Spider-Man at any given point. Yeah. And Ultimates in Marvel is their alternate universe. So this is where they get to do new origin stories, new takes on characters. This is where you get gender bent characters, or you get different races. I think Miles Morales originates in Ultimate Comics.
That sounds about right, because I know you've got Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen.
Yes.
So
right.
And Spider-Gwen's in her own universe at this point, if I'm not...
Where apparently Peter Parker died.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
it was like
it was the other way around.
Exactly, yeah.
So, bump the mouse on that real quick. Sorry, I just want to be able to watch the ticker. So, Marvel Ultimate Comics has a different origin story for most things, including Venom, where they briefly, with one line from Jenny Slate's character, Dr. Skirth.
Dora Skirth.
That joke worked way better than I thought it was going to.
Well, we skirthed past that mistake.
Dr. Skirth. So, yeah, Dr. Skirth mentions that she's excited to be doing cancer research.
Yes.
Very briefly. That is the entire backstory to Venom in the Ultimate Comics. So the way that one works is they were making a organic life form that you would put into a cancer patient, and it would eat the cancer cells.
Yeah.
And then cure them of cancer. And then, obviously, as things do in comic books, it went horribly wrong and created Venom.
I can't imagine.
And there's even a game for the PS2, Ultimate Spider-Man, where you could play as Venom. Personally, it's my contender for best Spider-Man video game. I know everybody says Spider-Man 2 because it was really good and the movie was really good.
Well, everyone seems to be losing their minds with the PS4 Spider-Man.
PS4 Spider-Man, I've
Which
also
I've not
heard is
played,
amazing. But, I mean, obviously, something that's like 20 years later is going to play better than for a PS2. Sure, okay, I get that, but also I still love Super Mario World, so just get off my back, guys.
Did you play Fallout 76?
No.
Oh God, please don't bring that up.
I actually haven't played any of them. I'm just
actually
being a
gonna walk
dick.
out if we're gonna talk about Fallout.
I was one of the 6 people that considered it, and then the 2 that actually went for it was not.
I'm just being a dick because I haven't actually played any of them, but I've watched the train wreck on YouTube. Like, why is this so bad? And then I watched, I'm like, oh, that's why.
I played 3 New Vegas before. Honestly, 76
How about that canvas bag?
76 was a fantastic promise, and the promise of it, it's what everybody wanted. I mean, I say everybody. Maybe there's a few people out there that doesn't like playing games with their friends, and I'm really sad for you all.
I don't have friends.
And I'm sad for you.
We're just placeholders.
Right. So,
Breath of the Wild was amazing for me because I didn't have to get online for it.
But imagine how much awesomer it would be with a friend.
I wish I could imagine.
You could set up. I mean, if you had friends. Imagine if you had friends. Okay, all right, maybe
Okay.
this whole metaphor is not going to work for you.
So we're going into
just move on.
sci-fi. Got it.
Yeah, let's just move on.
Anyways, okay. Ultimate Venom was a cancer treating suit that turned wacky wild and needed to eat people.
Right.
And then it did eventually get onto Spider-Man, so it eventually got the spider on the chest.
It goes backwards, basically.
It was backwards,
Okay.
yeah. And for the beginning of this movie, as Alex Jones as Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock was, for the Eddie Brock report or whatever that was, I was like, this is very YouTube-y.
Yeah.
For lack of a better
Yes.
term.
Yeah.
Which, again, still could totally work. Something like that with a charismatic Tom Hardy personality.
Right.
Could absolutely work. Anyways, when I was seeing this in theaters, that's where I thought they were going to go. I thought they were going to go into the alien crash at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Which, again, you want to add some time to your movie? Let's cut out the whole alien
Yes.
riots making its way across
That's one of
the
my
world.
main points. I hated the big bad guy. I hated the other big bad guy, and I think that it just didn't.
Right.
The invasion force that's like waiting behind a comet to come eat people on our planet. I thought that annoyed me.
You know why they had a crash in Malaysia, right?
Yeah, because the Malaysian Airlines.
China.
True.
Most
Yeah,
of the $800 million this movie made was from China.
Yeah.
This was huge in China.
Yeah.
And it's funny because a lot of those scenes, they did have the Chinese characters. In fact, I feel bad for this one actor, Roger Yuan. He was actually the owner of the eels, who had one line
Yes.
and gets killed. He was the main villain in Shanghai Noon with Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Right.
And, his career has been up and down. It's and that's all you were doing
That's
now?
all you're gonna do
It's
for
so
him.
weird.
Yeah.
Yep.
And but even the shop owner that Eddie's friends with, she's speaking Mandarin.
Yep.
And it's they're
Right,
trying to
you're right, that
go, hey
makes sense.
China,
Oh, yeah.
hey,
Oh, yeah,
get-
yeah.
Yeah,
please
that
give
makes
us
sense.
money, and it got all the money because of that. Nothing wrong with that too. I love that these movies can do better because
Right.
of
That was another character I actually thoroughly enjoyed. Was the
Yeah.
shop
Oh,
owner.
she was hilarious.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You know who got more money because of this in China? The Meg.
Yes, which I saw that coming a mile away.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, yeah. Anyway,
Avengers Endgame's going to open up 2 days early in China.
right.
Yeah, so I'm not joking.
I wonder
either.
where some of the scenes take place in Endgame. Sorry.
Ironically, in Japan,
Right.
not China.
Well, Thailand, right?
Oh, my God.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's rude.
Anyways,
That is China.
Ultimate Venom is what I'm trying to pitch
Very
here
confused.
is a version of this movie where the Life Foundation is what they're presenting, this kind of Elon Musk meets Joel Osteen. I didn't hate that. He especially especially when they get into the investigation from Eddie Brock is you're taking homeless people and killing them to make pharmaceuticals.
Right.
That as far as reasons to be looking into something for a journalist character,
Right.
Not bad. I'm
No,
not
yeah,
gonna
that's
lie.
great.
That was really good,
Right.
and I don't want to cut that out.
No.
Okay.
So my idea is let's just take the space alien aspect, and the thing that this fixes is carnage.
Okay.
Because if you made Venom and then Eddie Brock creates a symbiotic relationship with Venom, you still have the ability to create a symbiote. And then you connect
Right.
a psychotic homeless person that you're going out to
Right.
grab, and instead you grab a serial killer,
Yes.
Right.
somebody that you can like contract in from a prison or something like that.
Yeah, that I like. The movie makes no attempt to explain Carnage. They just wanted to
Right.
introduce us to who's going to be playing Carnage.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And you know we're getting a sequel because it made $800 million.
right, exactly.
So how are they going to explain that? Is
Right.
by issue.
They have a
there
problem.
was another one. There was an escape pod.
No, what
It came down on the rat. You remember the rat from this movie?
Yeah, there was
No, that's Rampage. I tricked you. The rat was in Rampage. Sorry.
You okay there?
No.
Wow.
I'm so,
He's
I'm
so
still-
passionate. He's so passionate.
I'm still mad the
That's one
beginning.
word for it.
I'm still mad the beginning of this movie and the beginning of the Rampage are the same movie. It's the same movie. Anyways, this is Josh's rewrite on Venom.
No, I hate that you're not wrong about that.
One
Yeah.
made a lot more money than the other.
Yeah,
The one
so,
with the rock in it.
So the symbiotes really
How
wanted
much
to.
did that make?
It made a pretty
I thought
decent
Venom
amount
made
of
more.
money. I'm sorry, we keep cutting you off.
That's okay. Your banter is fantastic. I'm okay
It's
with
less
it.
pressure.
I'm about to look up Rampage while you're speaking.
Box office mojo.
So the symbiotes are hitching a ride on a comet or asteroid or whatever, and they're just like, hey, we're gonna go take over this planet
Yeah,
and eat everybody. But it sounds like they don't really have any means of like getting off the thing.
yeah.
Like, come over and get to us. So we had to drag them off.
Where was the symbiote scientist like
Yeah.
working on a computer
Yeah,
going,
yeah, this-
how do we breathe oxygen?
Right. Yeah, or they're like googling it. Like,
Yeah.
whatever
Gold
symbiote-
news, everyone.
So
The smelloscope.
it's the finger.
Human stink, we found out.
It's the finglonger. It's a long finger. Maybe they could use that to like hitch onto the atmosphere. I don't know. I don't understand science.
Neither does this movie.
Right, exactly. So they had no means to get here. So they
Yeah,
hitch a
yeah,
ride
yeah.
with these scientists that specifically went to study this asteroid.
Yeah.
And happened to find the symbiotes. Happy coincidence? Were they
Sure.
summoned?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. So they bring them back. They bring back 4. And we know who those 4 are. We know it's Yellow, Blue, who both died, Venom, and Riot,
Black and charcoal.
Black and Charcoal. And so Venom and Riot, we know what happened with them. We know that Riot hitched a ride all the way across all of the lands
Yeah.
and made his way eventually to the life scientist, the life whatever compound.
Can I make a really niche joke real quick?
Yeah,
How
go
about
for
it?
Do you remember that movie Collateral with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx from like 2000?
Basically, 2 of Katie Holmes'
Five?
significant others.
Yes.
Yes.
2005, 2006, something
Yes.
like that?
Michael Mann.
Do you remember how at the end of that movie there was a transporter reference where he meets up with Jason
You
Statham?
know, I've never even seen the movie, and I know exactly what
Yes.
you're talking about.
Okay, there was a weird, teeny tiny, itsy bitsy part of me that when the little girl gets to the airport in Malaysia, that I was expecting Jason Statham to be there. And then, oh my God, Venom's in the transporter universe. Holy, I don't.
There's a hell of a crossover.
That's a niche joke. If one person enjoyed that, that was for you, buddy. That was for you.
I'm right here, so it doesn't matter.
Oh God.
I love 2/3 of that trilogy.
Transporter 1 and 3.
Third one can kiss my ass.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Second one's just like an awesome fever dream.
That
I'm
was
sorry.
Megaton, right? The third one.
Yup.
Yeah, I thought so.
Olivier Megaton, the man
Thank you
who also destroyed the Taken franchise.
Destroyed.
Because the second one, like I said,
Do you mean knocked off a footstool?
that works.
I'm sorry, Josh. I got like I owe you like 30 apologies. You have a rewrite. I see it in the notes. I'm looking at your notes.
It's literally right here. I can almost get there.
I've made my 2 suggestions. Make Anne his sister. Do the Ultimates intro where there's no aliens. It's just
Right, it's crafted. It's
Yeah.
it's alchemical process.
Yeah.
It's whatever. You can make it anything at that point. It can be science. It can be mysticism. It can be whatever.
And my question: do we need a symbiote going all the way from one side of the world to the other?
No,
or can it
not
just be
at all.
one of the
It
other ones
doesn't
in
do
the
anything.
lab?
you can
It
cut
doesn't
all of
do
that out.
anything.
No,
For me.
like
all of
what if
that
it was the one from Skirth that came out and then got him?
Right,
That would
it
have been
could
almost
that
karmic
one.
at that
And-
point.
And yeah, my second time through, I was like, oh, okay, it's going to come out of Skirth and it's going to take over him.
Yeah.
Because the one that came from across the frickin' world was actually Carnage, and they were
Yeah.
just going to have that thread
Right.
all the way
Right,
through.
Right.
Oops.
The
And I
final
said,
shot, it shows up in the airport.
Yeah, exactly.
It sees the guy with red hair. It like leaks
That
into
would
his
have been better.
coffee.
So if I can offer
Jason
an
Statham's there.
improvement- If I can offer an improvement, get a word in edgewise.
Yeah.
Um,
Bye. Sorry, I'm done.
I would have used the traveling across the entire universe and then across the entire planet to be Carnage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it didn't need to be Riot. They could have had all 4
Yeah.
of the symbiotes at the Life Center, and it just hops out of Skirth and takes over Rich
and,
Boy.
And you don't have to commit like action beats to it too, because there's like
No.
a whole action scene with that where it's like shooting spikes out, and it's like obviously the best weapons maker.
And that's, they say it.
Yeah.
They say, and this is like storytelling 101.
Yeah.
Show don't tell.
Right.
And they just tell you over and over.
We say that on the podcast all
And
the time.
Right.
Like,
and
yeah.
so, in all fairness, they showed us the first time, and then Venom had to explain to us later, he's got a lot of weapons. A lot of shit you haven't seen before.
Do you,
I'm like, what are you talking about?
shit we haven't seen.
Right. And it's all kinds of stuff we haven't seen, like blades and hammers and spiky
It's
balls.
the T-1000 symbiote, basically.
Right, and we've never seen those weapons before. That's crazy.
hey Venom, do you want to like get a dummy and like practice real quick?
Yeah.
No, I'm quite well.
Yeah. So, and
Thank
that
you,
brings me to
Eddie.
my next point.
I'm
is,
kind of a
like,
pussy in my planet.
What? Yeah. He's a loser on his planet.
I'm sorry.
Although he does say
We gotta
pussy at
clean it
one
up.
point when he takes
does.
the elevator.
He calls him a pussy,
Pussy.
when he takes the elevator down. And I
Oh,
love that
yeah,
part
yeah,
too.
yeah,
That was
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Oh, so out of left field.
That was
Oh, I
fantastic.
love that.
But yeah, how does Riot have all these weapons? What does that mean?
Yeah.
If the symbiote has weapons, clearly he's like broken them down and holds them inside his body. Does he really need them? Because they're amorphic and they can like form anything they want to.
Can he kill another symbiote by just like stabbing it? Is that how they work?
Well, they can't because they stab each other a million times and nobody dies.
Right.
So I don't understand what the point of even fighting a symbiote is, because they're just going to stab each other.
Yeah.
And it's stupid. So that's why they have the whole the merge where they actually merge all into one.
Yeah.
At that one point. And it's like,
Which I wasn't sure at first. I'm
Where
like,
did the
I
two-
think everything's together now.
the 2 bodies are in there too, like the 2 humans.
Is that Floam and Gak?
Yeah, it's like
You're not
Formiga
supposed to
coming
combine them.
together.
Is that silly putty? Don't do that.
Right, it's like mixing 2 different colors.
I
of,
really need to
putty.
see that happen.
Except
now.
they're
Don't
actually
cross
the
the
same
streams!
Listen, I will make a P.O. box if someone will send me Silly Putty, Gak, and
Oh
Floam.
my
I will
God.
combine those with Pop Rocks and die trying something.
Hey, bro!
Oh god. I
Yeah,
need to
that shouldn't happen. I agree.
film that part.
Oh,
Film that
absolutely.
part. Well, don't just do that on the podcast.
No.
You just hear your head explode.
Like just title it Mentos and Coke, and then just I'm combining Gak, Floam, and Silly Putty to see what's gonna happen.
Sweet Jesus.
Brandon's gonna die. This room is so hot right now.
Yeah, no, it's warm in here.
We got
Oh
a
my God.
window the whole way open, and we're
Right.
dying.
Right.
I'm
I'm
like the
actually,
only one in full jeans rather than shorts
Oh,
because I'm
true.
a dumbass.
yeah, I wore shorts, and I've taken my shirt off at this point.
It
So
was- There's many nipples in this room.
at least 6.
Male presenting
At
nipples.
least 6.
Male presenting, let me add. This is Tumblr safe. Okay.
Right. I'm actually kind of sad about the male only, but that's okay.
What did you say? It was like 20% of Tumblr users disappeared or something like that?
I would believe, honestly, more. If somebody told me 80% of Tumblr just fell off, I'd be like,
Well,
yeah, that makes sense.
Their monthly activity fell by like 70 something
I gotta
percent.
double
That definitely does not
The
shock
number
me.
of site visits once they censored, and I was like,
Yeah.
sucks for you.
Anyway, yeah, that's your
so-
own fault.
So I would improve the storytelling aspect of that. Give me
Yeah.
a reason why he has so many more weapons. Tell me why. Tell me how
Sure.
it works. Even if you take, I don't know, 30, 40 seconds, which
Tumblr loses 87 million users in 1 month.
there you go. So give me some reasons why this stuff is as it is. Give me some explanations, even if it's a little bit ham-fisted. Like, I'd be okay with it
Sure.
because, again, it throws back to the cartoony aspects of it.
Yeah.
You know, like Acme Corporation is where he gets all his weapons from.
There-
You know what I mean? Like, and why does he need the weapons in order to manifest his arms and limbs that way?
Okay.
And then why didn't he do something more
Yeah.
in the final fight?
Yeah.
Yeah. And why do sharp-pointed weapons affect other symbiotes that are basically gack?
But they don't.
They
Like,
don't.
He doesn't get defeated by any kind of sharp object.
Right.
In fact,
It's sound and it's heat. It's those
yes,
two
Yep.
things.
Eddie gets stabbed all the way through. He clearly is dying.
Yeah.
Venom comes back in. Whatever, manifests into the Venom suit and everything, and then just rips the damn thing out and moves on with his life, and then fixes Brock.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so you can't pierce them, you can't bludgeon them to death.
Right.
You have to use heat or sound, and they don't have those weapons to use against each other.
Yeah.
So
what I'm hearing you say is another symbiote is the wrong way to have a villain.
So
in
my
the third
villain
movie.
being the other symbiote didn't work for me.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, if they went like the Terminator route and they both have to go into the fire together in order, you know, to take him down, I would get that. I would be incredibly sad though because like I want more Venom.
Yeah, exactly. You don't do sequels if you kill Venom.
Right, exactly. And so I don't.
Although
want
they
it.
did sequels to Terminator. So
We're
They
getting another
did.
one.
Right. So.
God damn it.
So that would be a weird way to do it.
Terminator 6. We're sorry about Genesis.
But I also want to throw out that the rocket ship exploded at
Yeah.
the end, and that's
Yeah.
what killed Riot.
Right.
Because of all the fire, all the heat, whatever. That's how you kill a symbiote, which is what Venom again told us earlier on.
Sure.
You know, like what's he weak against? Oh, he's weak against sound, blah blah blah, and fire.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, and fire. It's like, okay, cool.
Right.
Thanks for that. So that's how you're gonna finish the bad guy. Understood.
Right.
So we use both sound and fury. Fire. Excuse me.
Have you ever heard of telegraphing the end?
Yeah.
Because that's how you do that.
Yeah. What's foreshadowing? Let's just tell him how it's gonna happen. And so Venom burns up too, and he
Yeah.
says, "Goodbye, Eddie." And they fall into the ocean
For no good God reason.
for no good God reason.
The
and
Venom
it's like,
shoot.
Yeah, and so I mean, were they gonna just kill him off there? Because
Right.
that would be the place to do it.
Sure.
That's seems like what they were going for. And then whoa, switcheroo. He didn't actually die. Sorry, spoiler alert. He doesn't.
There's no
actually
spoiler
die.
alerts on this. If you're listening to this podcast, you watch
It's
the
because
movie
you already watched the damn movie.
We that is an understood on this. Unless
Okay.
we go into a different movie. Like I won't talk about Us on this.
Thank
that
you.
just came out.
Right. But
Still
we can talk
haven't seen
about
that
Into the
either.
Spider-Verse because no, I'm just kidding.
No, we
Ah!
won't do that either.
No, damn
We
it.
won't spoil other movies. But if you clicked on this because it said Venom, I'm assuming you saw
watched
Venom.
because you want to know.
Exactly.
And to be fair, the trailer does have the very last scene with Venom in it that is after
Yeah.
that alleged death scene. Too,
Right now,
so.
I saw that ahead of time, and I
Yeah.
thought that was going to be somewhere in the film, and,
Yeah.
and it wasn't. And so,
Because it feels like an origin story beat, right? Of
yes,
Like, oh yeah, I can like do this black suit.
to me,
thing.
it felt like that was him discovering himself, where he starts learning about his powers, learning about what he and Venom can do together.
Yeah, the conversation of like we don't eat innocent people.
Yes, like that would be starting
From there,
midway
it's
through
like,
the movie.
okay, I'm not
Right.
mad you ate that guy because he's obviously bad, and we established that. But in the
Right.
future, don't do that with like civilians.
Don't eat the
Right,
puppy.
Right. So Venom dies, and it's like, well, okay, I know that's not the end.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not the end of Venom. But I also posit like, all right, then Riot could also not be dead, even though he was
Yeah.
more in the middle of that explosion because he was inside the rocket. He was
Right.
trapped, nowhere to go. More
He was in the
heat,
middle
whatever.
of putting a fork into a toaster.
Right. Whatever it was.
If you're predicting that Riot is Carnage in the next movie, I'm gonna actually riot because that's
no.
terrible
I do
storytelling.
not want that to happen. I'm not predicting.
But we
that.
all know Sony and how they do sequels.
Yeah. So if they do that, I'm gonna boycott the second movie.
Oh, guaranteed.
Because that's just stupid. But if Riot's not dead, I'm okay with that because Venom also didn't die. But it still kind of pisses me off because
Excusing one thing doesn't excuse another.
you're right.
I guess.
It's not
I
mutually
mean,
exclusive.
Venom
Yeah.
looked like it was more like the outskirts of the flame rather than Riot, who was like,
He was in
"In
the
it."
outskirts, but what of him survived? Why did he say goodbye, Eddie? What of him survived? How did he come back? How
Right,
did he
right,
regenerate?
right.
Give me a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
I like to know, like, okay, maybe Eddie sacrificed, a portion of his liver
Yeah.
Sure.
There
to
you go.
get him back,
Or
and
the
now he has to
kidney.
give up drinking.
Or even if you explain it of like, oh yeah, when you were injured, I had to like insert my DNA into yours, and now we're inextricably linked. Like Parasite the Maxim,
Yep.
Mr. Josh the anime
Oh,
guy.
yes.
I didn't even bring up how good you are in anime.
Oh my god, that's right.
Yeah, think about something like that where it's like, and then 6 months later, he's like, oh, Venom, you're back. And it's like, yeah, I just needed a little time to grow off of your cells.
Right. I was just consuming your excess, eating
Your
habits.
dandruff turned into me.
Yeah, he's like,
surprise.
he's like, did you
Thank you for
notice
stop using Head and Shoulders.
you eat like a fat asshole?
Right.
And so,
You've had McDonald's 6 times
Right.
in the last 2 days.
like,
the tater tots.
you're wondering why you haven't put on weight. It's
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of me. So yes,
Way better execution
and it
for
was
the same
funny,
thing.
and
Yeah.
it would be funny.
Yeah.
And it would
Hilarious.
fit with the theme.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
And
Okay.
And so that just bugs me. It just bugged me.
I have one more change, which changes the kind of movie this is. I've brought this up to you previously, because if you ever submit a pitch to Film Rescue Show, we don't just pitch whatever you send us. We want to like tell good stories here. So Josh and I have previously talked about this pitch a few times, and whether or not this sticks, I don't know. But here's my idea: Predator 2 is what this movie should have been. Concrete jungle. Here's the pitch. If it's the Life Foundation and they've created a cancer treating symbiote and it turns into this organic sentient supersuit that bonds to Eddie, they want to keep that as contained as possible. They don't want cops involved. They don't want the government involved. So they call in something that can hunt down anything.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Kraven the Hunter.
Okay.
But we're not talking like Kraven with a leopard print coat.
Damn.
We're talking cyberpunk.
Well, eventually, honestly, I'm okay with that.
Played by Jared Leto. Oh wait, he's Morbius. Never mind.
Stop! Sony, stop!
Too late.
You can end this before it becomes a thing.
The set videos exist.
Do they?
Yup.
Oh no.
I got stuff to Google tonight, guys, and it's not porn. It's anti-porn.
Yo, Dick just went in.
We're over an hour in. You're allowed to say whatever you want. My pitch is, do Predator 2, where it's Venom as the Predator, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
We get the fun back and forth them stuff.
Right.
His sister's this, like, moral compass kind of character
Yep.
underneath of that. And then the other side is, Kraven is this, like, mercenary, hire me, give me $500,000, I'll do anything you tell me kind of guy.
He's kind of like me.
Yeah, if you give Josh $500,000, he's going to do anything you tell him to. Anything.
Seth gave me
Anything.
$10, and never mind.
I give you $1 and you agreed to watch Venom twice. Rim shot. Yeah, so that I think it would really be fun to do a smaller, contained, like, maybe he grabs a couple SHIELD people if you want to do it MCU style. If you don't want to do MCU, he grabs a couple, like maybe Scorpion, maybe
Oh yeah.
Doc Ock origins, maybe Shocker origins.
Right.
Did Shocker survive Homecoming? I forget.
The
second one.
The second one did.
Not Tom Hardy knockoff. Currently, I'm looking at set video of what is potentially Jared Leto in a prison jumpsuit with a wig.
He's also going to be Carnage.
This looks so bad. That looks really bad.
It can't be worse than this Joker, hopefully.
There were aspects of his Joker I didn't.
Stop!
He was.
Friggin' Juggalo Joker.
Jim Carrey is who they should have cast, but Jared Leto was given a pretty good Jim Carrey Joker.
Well, everyone would have been screaming, "Oh, it's the Riddler again!"
Again, nobody talks about Schumacher's Batman. Nolan did 3 to excuse those.
Did you say we're bringing back George Clooney?
Oh my god.
Just the nipples.
George Clooney could play anyone in the MCU and I'd be very happy with it. I'm not gonna lie. He could play, oh my god, Jim Carrey as Norman Osborn Green Goblin. Not bad.
Interesting.
It's not Willem Dafoe, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
Why does Jim Carrey play Green Men?
Go see The Grinch in 1997.
How about The
8?
Mask? How about
The Riddler.
the Riddler? He plays green men.
What are you on to?
Little green men.
What did Jim Carrey into? Anyways, that's essentially my pitch. Do Craven as a merc, where he's like a kind of like a gray, but he gets darker as it goes because
Right.
he's trying to grab
Right.
Venom.
And they had opportunity for it because they had the hired nameless mercenary
Yeah.
guy in
The
this
bald
film.
guy. What's
that
his
nobody...
name? Yeah. He's like a
Yeah,
stunt.
What's his
he's a-
name?
Mr.
what's
Clean.
He's a stunt guy who's been in a lot of stuff. I'm sorry.
That
I
guy.
should have. I
Cleaner.
should have looked it up before the podcast. Actually, I did think about that twice, but I didn't do it.
Right. So they could have put him side by side there.
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
could have
yeah.
made him a more central figure. So, yes.
Awkward 1 second of silence.
Right.
It wasn't a full second.
It wasn't awkward for me.
Joe Manganiello. Wait.
No,
What?
that is not him.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia. Is Burke the leader of the private military group? Who's Burke?
You're looking at the wrong thing. Malin Ackerman was not in this. That's Rampage.
I'm looking at Rampage. Never mind. We get paid to do this show. Did you guys know that?
I feel like it did that on purpose. Throw back to the Rampage references earlier.
I was trying real hard.
Oh my God.
I was really trying.
Son of a bitch.
I'm trying to look at the Venom page.
So I liked that guy. I thought he was pretty cool. I think that they could have done more with him.
Yeah,
I think they
true.
could have given him a little bit more screen time. I
Make
think
him
that he
Craven.
could have been the bad guy because we didn't need him to be.
Yep.
We didn't need the obvious rich guy that everyone hates that has like an absolute reason for hating. Like if he wasn't picking up homeless people, it would have been children. And in fact, he even meets with some children. A girl
At the beginning, yeah.
A little girl raises her hand, and he, the rest of the class tries to keep her quiet, right? Because they're like, no, don't ask him any questions. And he's like, no, it's wonderful. Come on, ask questions. And then he proceeds to not listen to her question whatsoever, which makes him a giant super douche,
Yeah.
which we already knew. And I was like, okay, yeah, he's definitely a hateable character, and we
Yes.
all hate him currently. And then they remind us that we need to hate this guy
And that's the tricky thing about
because he's a
villains.
bad guy.
Because I feel like the MCU is slowly getting this now. It's like, hey, the best villains are the ones who legit think they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And
This
I would rather
guy-
sympathize with my villains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would rather have them in that gray area where you kind of understand why they're doing what they're doing. You understand also that they're doing it for all the wrong reasons.
Yup.
Or in the wrong methods for
Yeah.
the right reasons, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know what would be great is little moments of Carlton Drake watching video of Venom and being like in awe of him, like going like, this is the next step. This is where humans should be. This is amazing.
Right.
Like,
There's a little bit of that when he was watching
There
the.
is. He
Yeah,
said, he
yeah.
said this
Yeah.
is amazing. Like, this is the
Oh,
next
yeah.
thing. He is, watching the film, and he's like,
humans are inferior.
Yeah.
That
he's
was
like,
a funny.
this is so cool. Once we go
I
to
think they could have gone in
once we
that
go
direction.
out
It was
into the
there,
world,
and they just didn't
out
tap
into
into
the
it.
universe.
Casting overall, Riz Ahmed, not bad.
No,
like
not
the
bad.
dude throws himself into roles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely.
There was more the character than the actor that was the issue.
He wasn't given enough
Yes.
scenes to like give me a villain. You know what I mean?
Like, he was
right.
fine.
He was a cardboard cutout of what a
Yeah.
villain is, and we're all told, not really shown again. We're told that he's just a really bad person.
Right.
Yeah.
We kind of get some of that with the doctor not really liking his methods,
Right.
but she more is
Bringing
telling us-
another victim. I mean patient.
Send in the next person before the last person's body's been cleaned up. Like he does show a little bit of that crassness, but it is again very small. And we've cut out so much of the beginning.
Yeah.
If we're fixing this film, we've cut out some of the stuff that we didn't need with the love interest and everything.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
we've
yeah,
bought
yeah.
ourselves some extra time. Plus, it was a
Exactly.
short enough movie anyway
Yeah.
that we have room to build out the villain longer. We have room to build out the relationship with Eddie and Venom earlier on in the film to get more comedic action later on in the film.
Yeah.
So
Especially so character is a thing we go into a lot on this show. That's a big driving force of movies. Like
Right.
you have to be into the people you're into.
right.
Yeah.
Eddie and Venom being parallels and then finding their common ground is a great path.
Yeah.
Right.
Even within the movie, they do a good job executing that. Like by the end, I buy that they're friends sitting outside of Anne's apartment,
Right.
trying to win her back. I guess.
Yeah.
Venom wants to
suppose so,
experience human sex. I guess that's what's happening there.
He can be in both of them at the same time and experience it from both ends.
Stop. Anyways,
Does that make it a threesome?
doesn't? Yes.
Don't go to Pornhub and type in Venom. I don't know what you're gonna find.
Eddie, you're
Snake bites.
very average for humans. I'm going to make you very not average.
You need to be a little more.
Are we right? Is that's the sister, so we can avoid all of this.
Or can we? No.
Yes.
Yes, we can. Yes, we
Roll Tide.
Anyways, I would love to see a parallel between Carlton Drake and our Craven head of security Merc character,
Right.
where they start to split. That it's like they both. It would actually be amazing if they're like their point of connection is like Bible-y kind of things, because that's what Carlton Drake's bringing up initially with the story of Isaac and Jacob and that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And then if Craven was like, oh yeah, and then in the Bible they talk about hunting, and this is like a very
Right.
And then the split is like, I'm going into science, and then Craven's like, I'm going into very religious experiences, like putting blood on my face to hunt down. Like
Right.
if there's like a divergence between our villains, where
Right.
there's a connection between our heroes,
Right.
then by the end you're going, oh, okay, yeah. Our villains are very different people, and we're seeing the defeat of Craven while Carlton Drake's able to go into the next movies.
Yeah.
He's
Yes.
not defeated. He's just like,
Yes.
oh, I'm stepping back because I run the Life Foundation and we cured cancer.
He
with
could be
Venom."
like Fisk, and Fisk employs, a million different
Exactly.
bad guys.
Yeah.
And he maintains and remains a constant threat.
Come on, Sony. Don't you still want that Sinister Six?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm pitching it, dude. You could have Scorpion be like Craven's right-hand man, where he starts out with like a net on his back, and it slowly turns into this like super interactive
Right.
tale, and that's like the beginning. You could even spin off a Doc Ock from there,
Right.
where it's like, oh, do that but 4 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially,
Exactly.
Scorpion and Doc Ock are the same villain. Is all I'm saying. You have options here for if you, and especially when you take the story small, where it's not like we're ending with a giant spaceship that's going to go to space and bring more symbiotes at the end.
Yeah, and that's
if we lose.
right, and there's going to be an invasion force of symbiotes who are not going to be able to frickin' breathe. They're not going to fit onto the ship.
Thank you.
They're going to die when they get here. It's like signs when they bring in the aliens that they come to a planet that's 70% water to fight people who are 70% water,
Right.
and it's toxic to them. It's just stupid.
I guarantee CinemaSin said this, but I don't watch their videos because I want to stay monetized on YouTube. I won't go into that. But I'm sure they said the same thing. But yeah, how are they going to invade Earth if they can't breathe in our atmosphere and they're not guaranteed to bond with a human they attach to?
Right. They can't bond with most of the animals. They can't bond with most of the humans.
Right.
They've got millions of them out there. Are they just going to... I don't know. It's like throwing gack against a wall and seeing what sticks, right?
If we can get one more GAC reference by the end of this,
We're being sponsored by GAC, right?
organic, like an organic, we can't just say GAC. It's got to happen naturally. But if we can, this will be a successful podcast.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. Also, go on Amazon and buy GAC because we're going to be sponsored. I'm going to make sure it happens.
So much for organic.
Right. If I can add one last thought to this.
If this is a GAC reference, I'm going to kick you.
It is not a GAC reference.
Okay.
One of my favorite story elements is the redemption arc for the bad guy. Even if it's not necessarily the big bad guy, because the big bad guy needs to stay bad.
Sure.
So that we have that continuation of the story.
Yeah.
So we can move to the sequel, the next
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
You always have to have that next threat. Carnage seems to be the next threat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For this one. But Carnage is also able to become a good guy. He's psychotic. He does whatever he wants. He's more like the chaotic neutral. I wouldn't put him in chaotic evil.
Yeah.
He's more like chaotic neutral.
But he could go in Thanos' butt like Ant-Man.
Sweet
is all.
Jesus.
Right, and I think it actually will take the combination of the both of them entering
Yeah.
Thanos' butt.
Yeah, you need Carnage to go in and then launch Ant-Man. He needs
Right, it's like
the
one of
extra oomph.
So that's what that shot in the
Brandon
Avengers
is-
Endgame trailer of him jumping off the pencil. He's getting ready to go into Thanos'
The
ass.
pencil is Carnage.
There you go. They switched out in the CG for the trailer to avoid the spoiler.
I appreciate that meme more than I'm willing to admit.
And I love that both Paul Rudd and Josh Brolin are aware of it too.
No,
It's amazing.
Did you see the Russo brothers change their Instagram AV to be 2 purple circles of Thanos butt cheek, Thanos other butt cheek, and then there's a little red circle completing the Venn diagram that's Ant-Man? The Russos actually did that. They actually
There's not
did
many
that.
things that bring me greater joy than when someone like that can pick up on the crazy memes.
I'm gonna be 116 on my deathbed.
God damn it.
And my great grandkids are gonna walk in and go, "What do we? Yeah.
It's there. It's
It's
real.
a real
It's a
thing!
I
It's a
did
thing.
not-
I wasn't lying." My grandkids are gonna walk in to the super advanced nursing home and go, "What's your one bit of wisdom you want to impart before you die?" And I'm gonna go, "Ant-Man goes into Thanos' butthole," and I'm gonna peace out of this world.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so we're rescuing Venom on this podcast.
So let's have Craven fill the need or fill that void in my heart for the redemption arc, because as he parts ways with the big bad, he then loops back around and becomes part of the good guy team.
Okay.
And helps take out the big bad for the time being.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we still need that continuation for the next one.
Sure.
So you offered up that they diverge, that they maintain the religious aspect. I'm not sure how we accomplish it.
Sure.
But that he actually, they basically just join forces, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think that would be a lot more fun. I think that would be fun to then be able to cheer.
We
for
don't
him
write
too.
scripts on this show, so we don't have
Right,
to worry
exactly.
about that. I like that's a twist on an origin story that I've never seen, where by the end your like main bad guy is now allied with the good guy.
Yeah.
Right.
It would be a hard sell, and it would take a certain flair to go like, oh, Elon Musk Jesus is now fucking off doing his own thing.
Anti-Jesus.
Yeah, okay.
Because he's not the one that's on the religious side. He's on the...
So the
He
Antichrist,
He
basically.
The
refers to
Antichrist.
himself as God more than once in
Correct.
this thing.
And he puts
Bit of
himself
a
in
villain
the
trope.
shoes of God, yes.
But it's more of a Bible man trope if we're gonna bring up Bible man again. That's a dark thing to be like, and I will not abandon you. Like that was very honestly
Yes.
that's what ropes me in of like, oh, the Joker wouldn't even call himself God.
Right.
What's wrong with you, dude?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I've never seen an origin story where by the end the bad guy's like, you know what, you beat me and I'm kind of on your side now.
Right. I
That's-
deserved it. You know what?
It's like
You
a
were
role-playing
right. I
game
did
type of
everything wrong.
scenario.
Yeah.
It's like, let me join your troop.
I'm trying to think of like
Big Bad joins the party.
Loki, Thor in Ragnarok has the same energy.
Yes, and that's one of the
That's
reasons
3
why I
movies
like
deep.
Loki.
Yeah.
That's why I like Loki, though.
I'm really okay. So and Kraven is the kind of hero that could pull that off because Kraven has like shot on both sides of
Right.
good and evil within the comics,
Right.
even on the ultimate.
In all
side
fairness,
of
so
things.
has Venom, and definitely Carnage.
Yeah.
So they've all kind of played that. So I was hoping to see more of that with this
Yeah.
film, and I didn't.
Yeah. Play into the gray a little bit.
Yep.
So the rescue for this, as it sits right now, Anna's now the sister.
Okay.
We're not doing aliens because
Right.
it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right.
And it gives us more screen time.
Yep.
Venom and Tom Hardy are totally staying and maybe getting a couple extra scenes
Oh, yes.
because that makes things better.
Well, even Hardy himself said that some of the stuff he loved the best was not in the movie.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
That's the cut I want to see.
That's what we want to see. That's what we deserve.
I
Yeah.
almost paid the $20 for the bonus feature version of this on Amazon,
Yeah.
but I'm already paying for Stars on Hulu, so it was free to watch it. So I was like, okay, never mind. I'll just watch the movie. I won't see the bonus features for now. But I would love to see the Tom Hardy scenes. That
Well,
he-
even nowadays, they kind of hoard deleted scenes. Like, oh, we'll give you like 3 or 4, but then you see B-roll footage before the movie even comes out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even Creed 2, for example, is like, oh, hey, Drago and Rocky kind of throw down in this hospital. And you don't even see that as an actual deleted scene in the Blu-ray.
Right.
But you see the B-roll footage.
What?
Yeah, that exists. Yeah.
That's what they're doing with trailers these days. They give you the alternate footage that they don't actually
yes.
use in
With
the video.
trailers
in the
now,
movie.
they literally like CGI stuff out.
Yep.
At this point, I don't even care about trailers. I do care about trailers.
I care somewhat when everyone says, "Did you see that new trailer?" Which I have
Yeah.
this guy that sits next to me at work that's always like, "Have you seen the new trailer for this crazy movie?"
Chad?
No.
Josh and I work together, and I sit next to him,
Nice.
and I'm that guy.
And I'm always like, "No, I have work."
I'm
to
on
do."
Reddit, but I don't watch trailers.
Yes, I did see that the trailer was there because I'm constantly on Reddit, but I didn't watch it yet because
My internet's slow.
the internet's too slow.
Yeah, okay, and then the last change is make Kraven a main bad guy with Carlton Drake being the extending trilogy arc bad
Right,
guy.
the big bad guy that's in the background that bankrolls all of the other
Right.
mid-level bad guys that he
Yeah.
employs
The best-
for his ultimate plan.
The best trilogy is when each film feels like an act, but self-contained at the same time.
Yeah, it's like I can
So-
jump in on 2 and still have a really good time. Like you can watch Spider-Man 2 by itself,
Yeah.
and be like, "Oh, it's Spider-Man. Oh, Doc Ock. Okay,
Right,
I'm familiar with
but
these."
it contains elements from the previous.
Exactly.
And it foreshadows elements in the future one. And that is what
Spider-Man's
I want
not the best metaphor for that. I regret that.
No,
one
it is
now.
not.
'Cause 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Man, I could rant hard about Spider-Man 3, but I won't.
12 years later.
Okay, we're not recasting anybody.
No, I wouldn't. I think all of the actors that were put in place and cast as the roles that they filled did a great job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
I think
tried.
they are absolutely on point with that.
I didn't think.
I think the characters were used poorly in the film.
Sure. And then, is there a director you can think of that you would add to this to add something to the overall, like?
For that, I'd have to defer to you because I don't know a lot of directors. I don't know who I would put in there. That's tough for me to
Yeah,
answer.
I'm thinking of like, what is the McTiernan version of Venom?
Jordan Peele. I'm kidding.
His version of Venom would probably just bend your mind.
That's about right. It's like, oh, you want like a modern Hollywood Jodorowsky? There you go.
Right. I'm trying to think of like.
If I said Lee Winnell, I would just say just watch Upgrade.
Yeah. With knockoff Tom Hardy.
Yeah, with not Hardy.
Tom
Tom Hardley.
Softy.
I'm trying to think of like, man, who did Eraserhead?
David Lynch.
That is a film that I enjoyed thoroughly.
David Lynch's Venom.
Let's not forget he almost. I shouldn't even say almost. He was approached to direct Return of the Jedi.
David Lynch's Return of the Jedi. That's what this podcast is right now.
From the documentary crew that brought you Jodorowsky's Dune.
That was a fun podcast. Oh my god! Good night, everybody. That was a fun documentary. I enjoyed H.R. Giger's stuff in that documentary too. Was just like,
That's a hell of a combination too.
what is his house?
What is his house?
That like if you watch that documentary
Up
for
for sale
anything,
by his estate, I'm sure. But
watch that just to see what H.R. Giger's house looks like, because oh my god, Resident Evil 5 was 5 the what was the new one where it's set in just a house? 7. Sorry. Resident Evil 7.
Resident Evil 7 Biohazard or Biohazard 7 Resident Evil if you're in Japan.
Resident Evil 7 has
love those naming
nothing
schemes.
on H.R. Giger's home.
Oh my.
If H.R. Giger was the final boss of Resident Evil 7, I'd go, yeah, that sounds about right.
Makes sense.
Oh my
Perfect. Yeah, sure. His eyes are popping out of his head at this point.
God. Is that his final form? Are we near the end of the boss fight?
His final form, he just turns into the alien. This is how I was
The rocket
inspired.
launcher drops from the helicopter. Quick, use this!
Oh my god. Josh, if you had to recommend 3 animes to anybody who's never seen anime before, what would you recommend?
So I'm going to explain my reasoning very briefly. For people who haven't seen any animes before, I would absolutely recommend Code Geass. I think it has one of the best endings
Okay.
of any anime that I've watched, and there's a YouTube personality that completely agrees with me, and that's Giguk. And Giguk's videos are fantastic. Giguk is basically a more successful version of a person than me, in terms of we have the same feelings on a lot of anime.
Okay.
And so I would want people to avoid shows that have a lot of excessive fan service. Just because that's kind of a big turnoff for first-timers.
On the next Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, filler episodes is another
So
thing.
you're saying I shouldn't recommend JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to...
I would say I sat on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for a very long time, and I just started watching it within the last month. I'm so hooked, it hurts.
I don't doubt that, honestly. I don't.
It is so
But it is-
fantastic. And the names of the characters. I'm sorry, Robert E.O. Speedwagon brings me joy to hear his name over and over again, okay? All right.
And they have to say the whole name. It's not
Right,
just,
exactly.
You don't just condense it to Speedwagon.
Right. Well, they do say Mr. Speedwagon pretty much all the time. But when he introduced himself the first time as Robert E.O. Speedwagon, I about died. And then they introduced very shortly later another character. That's like a monk, essentially. And that's Master Tom Petty.
Stop!
Right.
Hey, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure! Stop! Please, just stop.
Most recent one was Master AC/DC.
Please stop!
Not even trying.
It's fantastic.
Oh my god.
And they spell it out too, like phonetically.
my
It's
God.
great. It's great. It's great.
You don't say.
It's
C-E-D-E-C.
EDSI.
Stop! Stop!
Okay, all right, we're done.
One Piece has 1,000 episodes by now. Go watch that one.
Oh my god.
You'll understand anime by the end, I promise.
Right, all right. So Code Geass, it has a beginning, it has an end. You can get a full experience there. If you want to experience something that's not quite finished yet, I would say ReZero. ReZero, Living Life in Another World, or Starting Life Over in Another World, excuse me. It's an isekai. And if you're familiar with isekai, that's where the main protagonist is transported into another universe. And that universe generally has, like, game elements to it. So it'd be like your
I have
Sword
a
Art
quick
Online.
question.
What's that?
Is the Chronicles of Narnia an isekai?
It's not, because they don't really have, like, the game elements. They're just in a different universe.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? And
okay.
so
Okay.
someone's going to call me out in the comments and be like, no, isekai actually means this. And I'll be like, all right, whatever.
Is Thor Ragnarok an isekai?
Oh my god.
I'm looking for real world.
You broke him. I see steam coming out of his ears.
Well, because Thor Ragnarok was like an arcade game. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
yeah.
it was great.
It was Contra 3. But
Yes.
I didn't
Yes.
die in the first level.
It was being.
Typically, it's the third level for me.
Normally, you'd be transported in like an RPG or an MMO of some sort,
Okay,
but in
okay,
this
okay.
case, a bullet hell that works too.
Is Ready Player One an isekai?
Not really, because there's still real world elements to it. They actually just use that as more of a backdrop
Okay.
for advancing a lot of the story. So I would say
I'm
no.
starting. Is Tron an isekai?
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I want Brandon to just break down.
You know, I would throw out there yes, pretty much. I think that's closer to the concept of isekai.
So what you're saying is I can make a lot of money if I did Tron anime. Boom!
You got it, buddy. You
Disney
got
might
it.
have something to say about that, but
Disney can make anime. I don't care. Weren't they involved with Avatar: The Last Airbender?
something like that.
Or Nickelodeon? Never mind.
is there something in my eye? Jesus!
It's allergy season. I'm sorry, dude.
No, there's something moving. It's a symbiote.
And I would say for something that's very self-aware and very, I wouldn't say it's comedy-centric, but it hits a lot of comedy notes. Mob Psycho.
Okay.
Mob Psycho 100 is an absolutely fantastic
Yeah,
anime. The second season is currently airing. It's just about wrapping up. in the next couple of days, and or at least in this particular arc.
Yeah.
I don't remember if they got renewed or if they're doing a 24 episode set this time. I'm pretty sure they're only doing 12. Anyway, I would say Mob Psycho.
The studio that does that. So I'm the intermediary for anime here because I've watched just enough to get it and just enough to be like, I won't watch that.
I think I'm up to 150 series I've watched on my
I'm probably
Anime
like
Planet account.
10.
I think I did. Yeah.
I'm probably
Y'all
like
got me
10.
beat. I watched the occasional movie, and that's it.
Right.
Well, I created an Excel spreadsheet for everybody at work. I have
I got that
my
spreadsheet.
top 30. I couldn't keep it to a small amount because there's so much. out
Take
there
that,
that's
Watch
fantastic.
Mojo. We do 30.
Right.
10's not enough.
Exactly.
Watch Mojo doesn't have enough to pay their editors to do 30.
I'm
Oh!
gonna start a blog and start. I'm gonna
Sorry.
start a blog and start doing like a list website.
It's like a puffer fish. that line way for my
Oh my
O.
God, that
looks,
thing is huge.
Looks like a parrotfish. Anyways, Mob Psycho
I
100.
found Dory.
That was good. That was really
Oh my
good.
God.
Mob Psycho 100, for anyone who doesn't watch anime, the studio that does that also does One Punch Man.
That would be my alternative if you wanted something funny, and you weren't into Mob Psycho, which I think that makes you not human.
Okay. The reason I would recommend Mob Psycho over One Punch Man, One Punch Man is a parody of fighting power level superhero anime, where the whole thing is like, we love Dragon Ball Z, but also it's kind of hilarious how like superpowered these people are.
Right.
Like genuinely, I think Goku's on like God level 2 at this point.
Yeah.
It's God level or God level 2 is legitimately where he is in the series at this point.
Yeah, it's like Super Saiyan God enhanced.
Yeah, it's like his hair turns blue,
And
or maybe goes all the way back to black, or maybe I'm just predicting where they go from here.
Yeah, they symbolize it with color changes. I think it's like a purple, it's a blue. It's,
it's like black with blue outline. I don't know.
Right.
Anyways,
It's a mood stone.
One Punch Man is enjoying that, but also making fun of it. Mob Psycho 100, I think, is a little more approachable because its point is rooted in that idea of like everybody's becoming so powerful that this isn't fun, but it instead chooses to make fun of fanboys and entitlement attributes of people who like gatekeep anime or comic book stuff or things of that nature, to be like,
or Star Wars.
I wasn't gonna say it. I was gonna reference. I was gonna lean that way. I wasn't gonna say it out loud.
You're saying toxic fan bases.
Because
Drive that point home.
I don't want downvotes from all the white men that are gonna jump on this and be like, "Hey, I'm 35 and I didn't like The Last Jedi because it wasn't for me. I grew up on Star Wars and Luke Skywalker should have fought Snoke and CGI force battle. Geriatric walkers, their walkers should be lightsabers." I'll stop that joke now. That's as far as I'm willing to go with that joke.
I have enough content. I could do my own podcast on anime, what I've liked, what I've hated, things like that. So.
Yeah. So Mob Psycho 100 is just making fun of those people that are like, "Oh, this is my thing, and you can't." Wait, Kermit the Frog.
You went full Kermit.
Anyways, it's just making fun of those kinds of people that are like, "Hey, you can't join our club because you're
right.
You don't.
And
you didn't watch all 800 episodes of dubbed."
But
One
that's
Piece.
how anime has been for a long time.
It's true.
Anime was very, very much unapproachable, and in fact, I didn't like anything to do with anime other than Dragon Ball Z when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Until I got into college. I didn't start watching anime until I got into college. Like, really trying to seek out series, seek out something to watch, and I think a lot of that has to do with its accessibility. Not a lot of people could get their hands on anime without buying anime or pirating it.
Yeah.
And once services like Crunchyroll, once we got Netflix, once we got Hulu and all these other things, and Amazon Prime's getting into it now.
Yeah.
And they've got an okay library of anime, but I wouldn't buy Prime just to get anime.
I thought that was weird what Hulu did. I don't know if it's still the same way. I haven't checked it forever. Where, unlike Netflix, where like, hey, I'm going to swap out the language, you would have to have like 2 videos per episode if you wanted English or Japanese.
But thankfully, their AI was apparently smart enough to know if I was watching something in English dubs, it would only queue up the English dub next.
Right.
It
Smart.
wouldn't
on
go
the server,
to...
they're still hosting those files, like those video
2
files,
separate files.
completely
2 separate
separately.
files, yeah.
But you're picking the path, and it'll keep you on that path.
Yeah.
It was
Which is nice.
Hunter x Hunter was the one that I figured that out because I started an English dub and then I was like I saw that in the queue, like the suggested videos there was the Japanese dub and I was like, is that gonna play next? Because I just watched this one, but it didn't. It played the English 2 next and never plays the Japanese unless I want to play the Japanese.
I discovered that when I was curious about the series version of Fist of the North Star. Because the film, the anime film, not the live action one.
Never the live action one. If you're ever into anime, never the live
I like
action.
Death Note.
No, which one? Because there's like 4.
I think legitimately, I think we rescued Death Note on the podcast like within the last 6 months.
Oh, did we
that's
really?
funny.
Because I love Death Note, and there's nothing there to rescue. So this is really interesting to me. No, there's something there to rescue.
Dead to the pan.
You killed me for a second ago. I was like, what part?
Who are you? I don't even know who you are anymore.
Willem Dafoe as a Shinigami? Because that was the only thing I liked.
Oh, you're talking live action. I'm thinking the anime. If
Oh,
you're saying
yeah.
the anime, I would have been mad at you.
No,
but,
I wouldn't rescue an anime. I can't write that many things at once.
If I wanted to rescue that anime, though, I would have switched out the last episode for something a little bit more satisfying.
I would have cut out all of season 2 and ended with Light dying. Or L dying. I'm sorry. They have the same first consonant. I'm forgiven for that one.
One of them, that's all the name is.
I would have stopped with L dying. That's where I would have ended.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
That's like me with the Saw series. If Hoffman died at the end of Saw 6, I would have been happy rather than getting Saw 3D.
Oh, no.
Honestly, you
Oh,
rescued
no.
Saw 3D for me, finding out that Carrie Elway's character was supposed to have done the first trap. I didn't know that.
I thought
That's
we weren't spoiling other movies.
That's a...
This is something that didn't happen but should have because they took it out of the script.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, the end of Saw 7,
Yeah.
as I demand to call it,
Because even if you watch
3D
it in 2D,
is not the title of a movie.
but even if you watch it in 2D, it's still called Saw 3D.
Kill me now. It's Saw 7 in 3D. That's the name of the movie.
We need a Saw 2.5D where it's just like an isometric top-down view. And like, what the hell are we looking at?
I would have actually died if Jigsaw would have been called Saw 7. Because I would have been like, wait, we got Saw 7. No, that was Saw 3D.
Oh, man.
It's canon.
It's canon.
So this is going to be Mortal Kombat 11. Oh, God, that means MK vs. DC counts as Mortal Kombat 8. Kill me now.
Oh, no.
Batman beats Scorpion. Batman kills people, according to Zack Snyder.
Deal with it!
Yeah, he uses guns all the time.
You're living in a dream world.
Batman doesn't kill them directly.
Just
He
gonna
sets
turn
them
into
up
Dennis
to die.
Hopper. You're living in a dream world, man.
You see, he knocks them back just far enough that they like lose their footing and then they slip and die, and so it's
Right.
completely their
Yeah,
fault.
yeah. If you fall into a sword, that's on you, man.
Right.
Just be Batman. You won't fall into anything. I think this is a great place to end the podcast.
Yeah, I think I'm running out of ideas at this point.
Josh, you stream on Twitch sometimes, right?
Yeah, I've got a Twitch channel. I occasionally stream, and it's kind of smorgasbord or whatever the heck I feel like playing. So currently, though, I guess the new flavor is Sekiro. And if you want to see me get my shit pushed in on Sekiro, I am pretty terrible. But I did defeat the first big guy, and I didn't die 1,000 times.
I thought it was Shadows died twice.
Pretty neat. Yeah,
You're
Shadows
supposed to
died.
get 2 lives.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. There's a
They
resurrection.
just start over.
Is there a
resurrect
version?
mechanic.
Legitimately, I'm actually curious. Is there a version of the game where you get 2 lives?
Because it's not a version of the game, but it's basically you have a revive mechanic or resurrect mechanic.
Yeah.
Where you fight somebody, you get killed, and then you consume
But there's
your
a version.
resurrect mechanic.
There's a
and
version of
you start back up again.
the Batman games where if you die, the game resets to the beginning.
Yeah, I played that Batman game a long time ago, and it's horrible.
Well,
I mean, it was good, but it was horrible because you die and you start all the hell way back over.
I beat it.
That sounds like a Nintendo game, pretty much.
It was
Essentially.
Nintendo hard.
And back to Contra 3.
Yes.
Essentially. Okay, yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Because, like, to find out there's a version of Sekiro where it's like you have like two reset abilities possible would be the best version of that game to me, where it's like,
Right.
I'm going to stream this in 6 hours and never die.
Right, there's checkpoints, so there's like
Yeah.
little shrines that you pray at and you can move forward, but other
Right.
than that, I mean, you have the resurrect mechanic where you
Yeah.
just pop back up and you keep fighting, and I'm sure the bad guy you're fighting against is like pissed as hell. He's like, I just killed this dude, I gotta kill him again.
Apparently, some of the
bullshit.
bosses come back to life after you've killed them, too.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry.
Jeez, I didn't know that. I wouldn't have been prepared. No, that's fine.
It's the giant monkey.
Monkey!
There's a giant monkey in the game?
No.
No, that's where
I'm
it
making
is.
stuff up right now.
Yeah, so
This is a
that's-
game about Dark Souls, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's from software, so.
It's from Software.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm sorry, that's just the laziest goddamn name for a company.
It's from Software.
From software.
The game.
What's
by
your
From
What's your
Software.
Twitch name? If someone wanted to follow you, is what I was trying to get to here.
Oh yeah, and I was trying to say that too, and I forgot. So my Twitch name is really easy to spell. It's exactly as it sounds. It's Draco Zion, and that's DraKulxion.
That's exactly how I would have spelled it.
Right, exactly. No one has ever had any trouble with that. And
I
so
would have been the first.
So I have a good time occasionally. There's some Deep Rock Galactic, which is a game about dwarves digging up gold and stuff.
Yes, I know what that is.
Yeah, that one's a lot of fun. Trying to think. I've got some Final Fantasy 15 in there because that's a lot of fun.
That one was fun.
Yeah, I mean that one's only single
Says
player
a
game.
casual.
Yeah.
I haven't played Final Fantasy since 7.
Final Fantasy, according to casuals. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
It was a boy band, right?
Right, and so it just depends on what my mood is, and it depends on if I feel like streaming it at the time, if I want my
Sure.
frames to drop below 30, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So we can't see you like every Wednesday, but we can follow and get a notification.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like
Yeah.
my VOD history, it's video on demand. It's I think I've got like 6 over the last 3 years, but
Perfect.
yeah,
And that's why you were on a guest on the podcast.
Every 6 months.
yeah, I'm a real big streamer. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I'm a hot deal.
Who's Maximilian, dude?
I love that movie.
Drunk in a City, Resident Evil 2.
Yes.
Josh, thanks for coming on and fixing Venom.
Gentlemen, thank you for having me.
I think we did it, honestly.
Yup.
There wasn't a ton to fix. I don't
No.
hate this
No,
movie.
and that's
Surprisingly, yeah.
That's what we were saying. We enjoyed the movie. There's just ways to make it better.
Right.
And making it even better. Wow. You imagine how good the movie would be.
This is in the weird realm of like could have been a classic like The Mask if it had been pulled off. Because even The Mask, like to watch it now, it's not a great movie. The final act is bull crap.
Yeah.
The final act of The Mask is not good.
Bit all over the
But
place.
it makes up for it by like how good it is through the first 2 acts, and this movie's the same way.
Yeah.
First 2 acts are great. I mean, there could have been better stuff throughout.
Sure.
Yeah, overarching story shift. The cast can say the same. Ruben Fleischer, you can even direct it. I'm fine with that. I'm gonna kick you off this one, man. You can have this one.
Just come back for 2 after you're done with Zombieland 2.
Oh
wait for
yeah!
Zombieland 2.
I forgot
Can't
he did.
wait for Zombieland 2.
I can't. I forgot. he did
We'll
that.
completely forget about the Amazon series.
That's how Woody Harrelson got in this movie.
Yup.
I've been racking my brain. It's like, why would you sign up for this? You're the dude that doesn't do. You're the dude that does skinheads in the Third Planet of the Apes movie.
And apparently Han Solo's mentor.
He was good in that movie. You shut your mouth right now.
You take that back.
You're not wrong. You're not
He
wrong.
was fine.
He was good in an otherwise mediocre movie.
I don't
was
want him.
fine.
I don't want him to be Carnage.
I don't want him to have that wig in Carnage.
No.
Honestly.
I don't want him to be Carnage, man.
Maybe we'll just have like a red buzz cut by the next
Yeah,
one.
if the first thing he does is shave his head, I'll be like, okay, this movie will be fine.
There you go.
Super Nintendo, Maximum Carnage, coolest thing ever. I would never have imagined Woody Harrelson.
Angry video game nerd said it best about that video game. It's not shit. It is not shit.
Right. It's not shit.
That's where we'll end this one. At Film Rescue Show, if you want to follow us on Twitter or Instagram. I think it's Montresor Media on Patreon if you would like to contribute to this podcast. We've got all our levels set up now where you can...
I saw that.
Yeah, thank you for saying it and not giving us money.
Leave
the studio right now!
Bring money!
I was going to announce that I was going to become a patron, but I guess I won't.
Well, okay, don't then. No, dude. We need
See, I'm a cheap bastard. I haven't even, subscribed to any of the patrons of all my cosplayer friends who do the lewds.
So can you
that's
send those to me?
Only if you subscribe on Patreon.
Yeah.
But
oh man, a tier 10.
We're on every podcast platform now. We finally did it. If you followed our old iTunes, we're not on that one. It's still the Film Rescue Show, but if you're on the one that only has one episode, that's the wrong one. If you're on the one with 21 episodes, that is the correct one, because we are now... this will actually be episode 22. No, this will actually be episode 23. Because
Holy balls.
Greatest Showman comes out before this one.
Fantastic.
This will be episode 23.
My horrible Schumann joke that no one got and I still left the room.
I got it. I just
didn't want it.
I didn't know how to describe it to everyone else.
It's like, for those who don't know, Schumann was a composer.
So there was a composer in Germany back in the late 1800s.
This pretentious bastard Brandon thought this would be funny.
I got this joke, but me explaining that I got it means that I'm also pretentious, and I won't attach my horse to that carriage.
I feel a little better now.
This is the Film Rescue Show. Thanks for listening, and check us out next time when we do A Good Day to Die Hard. I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry.